ladies and gentlemen, do you see the photo? Do you guys see the photo? Yes, that's right. It's Tom. It's Lucas. It's Frank. It's Carl running the company, y'all. Happy Succession Sunday, the finale, the end to the show. And Logan said it back in episode 2, y'all. And that was that these individuals here are not serious people. Oh man, a lot to discuss. Welcome. My name is Elliot. If you guys are tuning in for the first time, before we get into tonight's festivities, break it down, talk about it. Mind blown. I mean, Tom, come on. Anyway, before we get into it, I want to take a moment to thank you all. For the last now 10 weeks, I have been hosting this live after show that I have had an absolute pleasure, an absolute blast being here with you all every single Sunday. It means the world to me to be able to be here with you all. If you don't know, Succession is one of my favorite shows of all time. And this season was special because I was able to experience it. You know, I covered season 3 for the first time on the channel 2 years ago, and that was just an absolute blast. But I didn't do an after show. So this time around, I want to interact with you all a lot more. And the last 10 weeks have been absolutely incredible. I love reading you guys' comments. I love the interaction. I love these immediate reactions. Like, I haven't watched the episode. I watched it with you all tonight. We had our watch party for the finale. And it was just so much fun to be able to interact with you all every single week. And I really do mean it. You know, unlike, these terrible siblings, you guys are like family, man. And it's been an awesome last 10 weeks. And it breaks my heart that this is the finale, the end of a show that I've loved since the very beginning of the first episode, however many years ago that was, and to now make it to this point and to be here with you all every single Sunday. It's really, really awesome, man. I really appreciate y'all. So, hey, before we get all weepy-eyed over here, do me a favor. If you all have been a part of the journey since the very beginning with episode 1 with the after show, or if this is your first time tuning in, if you guys could hit the thumbs up, it means the world to me. I appreciate the support on that level. If you guys could hit the share button, man, let's get some Succession fans in here and really have a discussion about the events that shook out in tonight's episode. And I'm going to do my best. It's just a one-man show. I'm the Tom, the CEO. I'm the Hugo. I'm the Greg of this channel. So I operate it by myself. So I'm going to try my best to get to your comments. So definitely leave your thoughts in the comment section. I'll do my best to get to them. Obviously, super chats, you don't have to give a super chat, but that obviously allows me to stand out amongst the comments because it makes it all bright and colorful and I can see the comment there. But definitely try to believe as many thoughts as you all can. I'm going to try my best to get to them. And then also, subscribe, man. I would really appreciate if you guys can consider subscribing. We covered Succession. We covered Barry, which is on right now, and I'm going to be watching it later tonight. But Barry, movies, live streams, long-form content, short-form content, and many more things that we do on the channel. So consider subscribing. So now with that out of the way, y'all, how y'all feeling at home? How's your weekend? How's your Sunday? How did y'all feel about this? How did y'all feel about this image right here of this MFer? Tom. Really? Tom's the CEO, y'all? I don't even know how to, because I'll tell you what, this right here, Shiv, I got some stuff to say about you tonight, Shiv. I love you, Sarah. You played a hell of a role in this show, but my goodness, what a decision. And if y'all have been watching these after shows, y'all know how I feel about this guy here. Oh my, can someone check on Kim, please? I know Colin's there. You know, he has his security, his bodyguard, Kevin Costner watching over him, but it's not looking good for Ken, man. But my goodness, y'all. An hour and a half of love and joy and the siblings coming together to all just crumble apart. And like I said, again, put it on a t-shirt. These kids are not serious people. They are not serious people at all. Just broke down in front of everybody. So much to go over. But let me say what's up to everyone in the chat, and then we'll get into tonight's discussion. And we might, if you guys have been watching the last few weeks, I've had a guest, 9. He's been joining me. I haven't heard anything from him tonight. I hope he's doing good. So he may or may not be joining, but if not, I got y'all to rock with. Okay, he said he's setting up, so he should be here in a little bit. So we'll get my special guest in a little bit. In the meantime, let me check in with y'all. By the way, was it weird for you all as it was for me to click on Max? Oh my gosh, I fucking hate that name. Like I said it earlier in the live stream, the Max logo is like, to me, that's now Tom's in the lead. But if Greg would have been named the CEO, that seems like that would have been a Greg move to take off the HBO prestigious, clean, elite branding that we all have come to love and just call it Max. That seems like so much like a Greg decision. I hated seeing that on the screen, and it worked though, because I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit nervous that Max was gonna crash because so many people were watching the finale, but it did not do that. Luckily, Max. Oh my goodness, that is ridiculous. But let me say what's up to everyone in the chat. Love Sexy Sam. One guess is only did you guys predict it? Do we have some Greg and Tom fans in the chat? Y'all know, disgusting brothers. We got a couple questions in here. Adrian Brody. There's a little, I don't want to say a lot, but there were some unanswered questions. Adrian Brody's character. I think of the Reva. Like I was for sure certain that Reva and the kids and that whole plot was going to be like something tragic, but nothing came of that. And the whole Pierce acquisition, like, yes, they now have more money than they can ever imagine with selling the company, but like who buys Pierce because they're not going to, as we'll talk about in tonight's breakdown, they're never going to talk again. We know how crippled the relationship was between Ewan and Logan, and we really never knew what exactly the moment was, but we assumed that it was because Logan became the person that he came to be. They just didn't talk anymore or really relate to each other or really connect to each other. And it's safe to assume that Shiv, Ken, and Rome will probably never talk again because of what transpired tonight. I'll say Shiv and Rome will probably talk again, but I don't think Ken. I think they are the Ewans in the situation, Shiv and Roman, and Ken's the Logan in the situation where he's not going to communicate with them ever again. So, but again, going back to like, okay, what happens with Pierce? Can they get sued? Like, who buys Pierce? That's a thing that really didn't get answered. So there are some loose threads, but I think ultimately the show did do what it set out to do, which is Succession, and unfortunately, none of those damn kids succeeded to take on their father's legacy. So again, we'll break it all down and get into, all the moments. Man, we're going to see a lot of Shiv comments tonight. I got a feeling. And if there is any negative comments about Shiv, just understand, I'll just say it right now. Sarah Snook destroyed that role. Everyone was great in their role. I have my thoughts on her decisions tonight, but respectfully, we'll get into that. But I performance-wise, absolutely amazing. We got someone that didn't like the finale. If you're still here, Moral, let me know your cons. What didn't work for you in tonight's finale? And I'm sure there might be other people that feel the same way. And as I'll talk about later, I thoroughly enjoyed tonight's episode, but I would love to know, for those that maybe didn't like the episode, what was it exactly that didn't work for you all? I would really love to pick your brains, and this is what we're here for, to have that conversation. But in the meanwhile, we got a couple super chats coming in. My man Paul with the $4.99 super chat. He did, my friend. He definitely got shivved, and it just blows my mind. And we'll obviously get into it here in a bit. Shiv, Manson threw you to the wolves. He sold you out. Your damn husband took the gig, and you didn't even really know. You didn't know about it. He was lying to you for a minute. I mean, Shiv. Goddamn, Shiv. We'll get into it, but thank you so much, Paul, for the super chat. And definitely, my friend, Shiv will be a topic of conversation, as well as all the other characters, obviously. But Shiv made a pretty big decision tonight. Mortal 468 with the 189 super chat. How did Shiv find out about Ken's dead body? You're referring to. So if you remember, from season 3, they found out during that conversation when Ken broke down and had the moment at their mom's wedding. If you remember that scene, he told them that happened. So that's when it was revealed to them. And for her to use that at that moment, talk about shivving someone, that cut deep, y'all. But yes, to answer your question, Shiv found out about the waiter that died in season 1 back in season 3's finale. If you go back and watch that, there's a nice moment that they had that I thought was a nice moment, but I guess not. Paul with the 189. Thank you so much, Paul. The Roy Sibs, competitive till the bitter end. Oh man, that scene. Listen, Rome has had a very interesting season, but the face has never changed. He just has that punchable face. Shout out to Kieran, who's a great actor, but he just has a face that you just want to squeeze. And that scene was fantastic. But yes, they were competitive to the very end. Very much so, Paul. Appreciate the love and the super chat, my friend. Seriously, though, with the $10 super chat, thank you so much. The comment is Shiv's name was the biggest symbol in all of Succession. It's so true. It is so true. She will knife anyone. I was surprised that they waited until last week to point it out. And I think they said it a couple times, shiving people. But last week to point out, I'm not a fan. Great episode, though. Well, listen, we're gonna have a lot to say about Siobhan and Roman and Kendall and everyone. But Shiv, I have a feeling in my bones, as Lucas says, grind it to the bones, that she will be a hot topic of tonight. And I want to hear every spectrum on the Shiv front tonight, y'all. I want to hear the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between. Obviously, keeping it respectful because we got phenomenal performances. But we're really going to have that conversation tonight. But seriously, though, I appreciate the super chat. I appreciate you, Paul. I appreciate you, Mortal, with the love and the super chat. You guys are awesome. And everyone that's here right now, we got up to 312 people watching. Thank y'all, man. I mean, you can literally be anywhere in the world right now. Watching Barry. That's how I'll watch later tonight. And by the way, anyone that's watching Barry, please keep spoilers aside. I haven't seen the episode yet. And whoever decided to put another, speaking about HBO Max and now being Max, that's another Greg move. Whoever is in the position of power to have Succession and Barry running at the same time, respectfully, is an idiot. Like, come on. Who does that? Who has both of these fantastic Emmy-winning shows on the same night? That is a Greg move. And if I was in the power to hire Barry to talk to the person who made the decision, not to do anything bad to him, just, mess around with him like Barry did in season 3. I hate that. But anyway, I appreciate you all being here with me tonight. If you enjoyed the episode, if you had a good time with the episode, and if you're having a good time now, thumbs up, share, comment, and consider subscribing, y'all. Let me see if we got any other comments before we get into tonight's discussion. And again, my guest should be joining us here in a little bit. And we'll obviously get his thoughts and have a fun time, man. We might be here for a while, y'all. So hope you got your snacks. Hope you got your treats. This might be a long one, but also a fun one. Let's see. I'm just so many great comments, guys. I'm just trying to find some. There's a lot of great stuff here. Let's see. Let me pick a name out of the hat here. Jill, what's up, Jill? That was quite embarrassing. Definitely embarrassing. We got a horrible ending. We'll let me know what you thought was horrible about it. We'd love to know. But listen, y'all, enough of me blabbering on. We're going to get into the breakdown, but I just saw my guest who's been joining me the last few weeks is in the back room. And if you don't know him, let me introduce him, the one and only Nine Nerd Yard. What's up, my man?
Hey, what's happening, man?
Woo. Just shocked, surprised.
I'm going to have to run that back. That was a lot. Oh, you feel shivved?
I feel shivved, man. Right in the back, man. Right in the damn back.
Wow.
Nine, before we get into the discussion, man, I took a moment to thank everyone for being a part of this journey for the last 10 weeks, but I want to take a moment to thank you, man, for hopping on these streams. I think episode 7 or 8 is when you jumped on. And you came back every week after that, and you're here tonight, man. So I want to take the time to thank you for joining me, man, and talking about Succession. And we're going to have a fun time tonight now. But if this is the first time people are watching our after show and seeing your face for the first time, man, why don't you introduce yourself to the fine folks at home?
Hey, yeah, I'm Nine Nerd Yards. You can find me on YouTube, doing a lot of the stuff that Elliot does. And I got to say, it's been a pleasure being able to be a discussion brother with you for the last few weeks. But yeah, you can hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, find me on YouTube. We have a lot of fun over on the show.
Yes, sir. Disgusting brothers on top, man. I think we alluded to it last week about maybe the Greg being on top, but now he's following his man to the end of time, and that is Tom. Tom, my man.
Really?
Tom.
It's Tom, though. Okay.
Let me pull up. Let me see. Where is it? Right here it is. This guy.
Wow,
man.
Yeah, I mean, I was not expecting that. That was, I've had it pitched to me, that idea that it could be Tom, but I think deep down, I just really didn't want it to be.
And I guess if we go back and watch the series or this season in particular, the whole him wanting to be the headline, him wanting to be the guy, and he wanted to be the one that was known for making the president decision of calling it. Now he gets his moment to shine. He always thought that Lucas hated him, and now he's the CEO.
I mean, he kind of gave. So what's the deal? He gave Shiv to him. Is he going to be like? Because they kind of bartered
concubine,
with that.
selling off his wife.
I don't know. That was.
Whew, we'll get into it, man. And matter of
Okay,
fact,
yeah.
before we get into this, let me see if there's any other final comments. I think I saw a super chat come through. Then we'll just get into tonight's discussion. My man Michael showing some love. Appreciate you, Mike. I don't know if there's a comment attached to it. I'm gonna try to find it here, Mike. But I appreciate you, my man. Jose saying Kendall explicitly told Frank and Hugo how he wanted to screw his siblings to end the only one. Why does Shiv get all the hate for pulling it off? It's a good question. Very good question. And I will keep that in the memory bank and bring that up a little bit later, Jose. But I appreciate the comment in the super chat, man. I would definitely circle back to that, and we will get to that, man. But Nine, I think it's time, man. It's an hour and a half. We got people that are off work tomorrow, so we might be here for a while. But let's just start and get into the discussion. So welcome everyone to tonight's discussion. As you can see below me, and by clicking on the video, we are talking Succession, 4th and final season, episode 10, With Open Eyes, series finale. I got my man Nine joining me tonight. And I guess the first question I have for you, Nine, is Tom leading the pack, my man?
It's really going to be Tom. Okay. How do you honestly feel about it?
How do I feel about it? So, and we'll break down the actual moment, but it makes sense just kind of looking at Lucas and his kind of weird behavior towards Tom. He hated him. He said some remarks about what he would do to his wife in tonight's episode. And that conversation that we'll talk about was a perfect example of how things will be ran now. Tom is just a puppet. He's literally just a puppet with Lucas controlling his every move. The man literally insulted him in front of his face. He's talking about the mother of your child, Tom, and he just let it slip through and slide and just took it on the chin. So it makes sense that Tom would be, it was either Tom or Greg, if we're being honest, as far as like for him to be the puppet master as far as Lucas. So it makes sense. But Nine, you've been with me these last few weeks. You know how I feel about who I really wanted to be in charge. And I'm telling you right now, Nine, can someone check on this individual, Nine? Because I mean, it's
I was rooting for him, man. You made me see the light, and I was going, Kendall. Oh, Kendall.
No.
He's okay. That was an excellent performance.
Man.
That's viral.
It was so many great moments in this episode, and we're going to get into it. But let us know immediately at the beginning of this breakdown, how do you all feel about the decision? How do you feel about this finale? What worked? What didn't work? There are some unanswered questions that me and Nam will post tonight. The Pierce acquisition. Someone mentioned earlier what's going on with certain characters that didn't pop up again. We talked about Reva the last few weeks, the whole kids being afraid, like what that really didn't add up to anything.
We get a little bit of a revelation about what he has going on with Reva too and his kids, and we'll get into that.
Yeah, man. And I mean, I guess Mankind's gonna win the presidency. That whole debate about the votes being destroyed. So I mean, there's some things that were left on the table, but at the end of the day, Nine, as we'll talk about, who was going to succeed, and at the end of the day, the kids didn't. So that's the main narrative got answered, but there are some unanswered questions that we'll get into. But kicking things off, Nine, with the beginning of this episode, again, the whole show has been kind of pointing, it's almost too obvious, right? For any movie fans at home, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, the promotion leading up to it was Rocket's going to die. But no spoilers here, but let's just say it plays out a lot differently if you haven't seen Guardians of the Galaxy 3, but it was almost too obvious. And now looking back at all these setups to Ken becoming the killer, Ken becoming his next, in line to run the company, him being the Logan 2.0, we open with him kind of like Roman last week when he was on a high, he was feeling good about himself. Right. He's walking around the office. Hey, what's up, you? Hey, we got to get stuff done. But ultimately, man, it didn't work out. But just before we get to it not working out, man, how did you feel about this opening sequence of things just kind of setting up in play? The deal's going to be set for tomorrow. And, Ken doesn't have the numbers right now to start off. Nine.
The way that he was able to did he even really finesse the votes? He was very confident, and that's what I actually like about Kendall's character, because really he's just going to say whatever. Uh, uh, but I didn't think that he actually felt that he could get the votes and kind of like fumbled into that. The
Yeah.
writing was on the wall, right? And uh, when the decision was made that he was just going to go all the way out with it,
Mm-hmm.
and after possibly like take out Shiv too.
Right.
Um, you know, uh, 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 I just thought it was really cool. I just thought it was good.
Yeah, man. I mean, from the get go, again, the confidence level was at an all time high. He just feels
Mhm.
like he can't be stopped right now. It's just all the stars are aligning, things are working out for him. But if you thought that if you thought that this man was confident, it's just an interesting parallel because literally the following scenes after we open with them saying, "Okay, we got to get the numbers, we got to get everyone on our side, we got to find number one. Where's Rome? It's like where's a missing link to this puzzle here." But we see that same kind of energy that he was kind of given is
Mhm.
applied to Siobhan because we cut over to her. And I mean, you talk, like I said, you talk about confidence. I mean, she's working the room. Number one, as
Mhm.
we speculated for weeks, that you can see the baby is showing. And I
Mhm.
feel so bad for that baby. Oh my goodness, the mom and dad are just so dysfunctional. Nine, but we see the confidence is just exuding from her, man. She's working the room. She's giving Lucas the numbers, and just again, she even says in this scene now, like CEO, me announced, right?
Yeah.
Nothing came from him. He just said it just like dance monkey because that's exactly what
Right.
she's been doing. Is just been doing everything for him, lifting all the heavy boulders, moving mountains to make this happen, all for it to just Nine. How did you feel about just the was it her being too overly confident that the writing on the I mean, we talked about it for weeks ago that she's gonna be
Yeah.
played, but
Yeah.
was it just like Shiv, come
I
on, what are
knew
you
I
doing?
knew that they were going to serve her one more L before it all was said
Yes.
and done, right?
Yeah.
And funny enough, it came like right when they both looked down at that op-ed, and it's Madison getting his the strings pulled by Shiv or that cartoon. Right
Yeah.
when he saw that, and he's like, "Oh no, it's good."
Yep.
That's when he made that decision.
Yep.
He was like, "Okay, I'm gonna let you play it all up. I'm gonna let you hey, struggle reviews is in the chat. Hey, struggle.
What's up, Tyler?
Um, um, but yeah, he was like, I'm gonna let you do everything. You're going to get all of my ducks in a row,
Come on.
and oof.
I mean, now I think about when her father played her back in season 2 with the whole like I'm gonna let you Pinky, you're gonna be the one. And obviously he took the rug right under her. But I mentioned it weeks ago, you would have thought that Shiv would have learned, right? She seems like a person, especially working in politics, that once you're burned, once you have a bridge burned like that with her father, hyping her up and ultimately taking that power away from her, you would have thought that she would have learned. Nine. So I'm just curious from your perspective, like what was it that you think clout her judgment? Was it just being naive? Did she secretly know that it was going to not work out in her favor? Like, I'm just so curious to know from your perspective now, like, how does she not see the writing on the wall? Like, literally, as we see her doing right now, I mean, she's writing off the boats. She's literally moving mountains for this man, and she's not getting anything in return. Not one thing. Lucas didn't give her anything. No assurances, nothing.
That
Nine.
was crazy.
What the hell,
That was
Shiv?
so
What the hell?
brutal. Yeah, I mean, yeah, she's been burning every bridge, but I understand it because she's been doing everything right and helping him out so much. Like there was really no reason for her to not think that she was going to like have that, or at least be in a position where, okay, even if e- even if it doesn't all the way work out for me, he can't double cross me, right? But yeah, she didn't. I don't know. I don't know. She didn't. I think she did everything right, but she still got the L.
Man. And you would think too, nah, this is the thing that just really baffles me about Shiv, and honestly, all these kids, but in particularly Shiv, because she's working with someone to take out her family legacy, was you grew up in the Roy house, Shiv. Like you should be able to read these rooms and read these situations of someone playing you like a fiddle. So again, I don't know if it was just what was the decision for her to just ultimately be so, again, it's the naivety, the ego to just want to beat her brother so bad that it just clouded everything. It was almost very much similar to just, we've seen a lot of these characters be so up their own butts and just so clouded by their own
Mhm.
egos they can't see them in front of them. And the same thing applies to Shiv, man. But like you say, yeah, I think this was the moment here where she kind of sees this photo, just kind of says it all, right? That she's the puppet master to Lucas. I think, like you said, nah, just set him
And
off.
that's what she wants. She was really in that position, right?
Yeah,
Like, and she loves to see herself like that.
yeah. And then we got
Um,
Jill. Someone had a question. Who's on? That's to answer your question.
that's
That's
messing.
Lucas. That's Lucas
Lucas
who's being puppeteered by Shiv.
is messing, taking over the world. Yeah,
Yeah,
he just
man.
did.
Yeah, this was
And I
yeah,
thought it was funny because like throughout the season, we have been seeing like a little bit of like cracks
yeah.
in Lucas's armor, right?
Yep,
He
100%.
didn't seem as cool and focused and relaxed as he did
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning of the season, or even last season.
Yeah,
And once the Gojo numbers, and we were talking about the two Indias and getting that all facilitated, right?
yeah,
I thought it was interesting because I was like, is he conning her? Is he conning? Is there another chess move coming? And yeah, little did we know. But I wasn't even seeing that.
yeah, yeah,
It.
man. It just goes to show that without their dad running the plays, calling the plays, they really don't. As we said many times, I need to get this on a T-shirt. They're not serious people. Nine.
Mhm.
They can't maneuver in this game called Succession, in this in this power dynamic. And man, it was something crazy. But a conversation I want to have with you, Nine, and this has been a hot topic for many weeks, this toxic relationship between Siobhan and her husband Tom, who we'll talk about Tom a little bit later. But the question at hand is, none of these kids are emotionally stable, and she just can't speak her mind, can't speak her emotions. She's dancing around this whole, like, can we be in a relationship? And I'm saying to myself, now, you're saying this as you're already married. These are conversations you have
Mhm.
pre-married and having, potentially a family together. But she says
Mhm.
on the phone to him, can we be in a, like, almost like, sending him a letter. Do you like me? Yes or no?
You're right.
Can we be in
Yeah.
a relationship? And he flat out tells her he doesn't really know.
Right.
I don't know what to think of this relationship. One minute they're being, spiteful and hateful and telling each other disgusting things, and then they're having their honeymoon stages all over again. And it
Mhm.
comes down to this, man. Talk to me now. What do you think about this scene of Tom really just telling her no? Like, I don't know if I can trust you. I don't know if I can be in a relationship with you.
See, that was low key the nicest thing she's ever done for Dom, was voting yes. Because even with that knowledge that he was going to slide, that he's going to be the guy, she still well, she still saw it as a way for them to be together. And do, do you think it was more of a selfish situation, or do you think it was actually do you think that she felt like confident in him, or was it
Mm.
more of like trying to get back at her brothers?
It's so I'm hard pressed to answer this, man, because I'm really not sure if this is one of her. It seems to be genuine, because it didn't, like, if she was, like, playing him at this moment just to have her cake and eat it too. Like, I think she would have been a little bit less stressed on the phone, because you could tell she was crying. She got emotional. This is
Mm-hmm.
something that really, I think, after all this stuff, I think this season has proven to her that Tom isn't as a big of a pushover as she initially thought, from obviously the first 3 seasons of the show. And
Right.
most likely, the moment that really hit her in the head was last season, when he snitched and told their dad that they were going to run the coop on him. So I think as that happened, and as we saw in this season, in a weird way, Nine, I think that she started to look at him in a much different light and respect him more than she ever had before. So I think she sees something in Tom that is attractive to her, that could be, the father of her child, could be someone that could, maybe make some decisions that
Right.
doesn't need her input on there. So I
Like,
think
it's
she loves
such a
him.
toxic thing. It's so toxic because that might have been like the push for her to be like, oh yeah, you know what? You are cutthroat enough
Yeah.
to, yeah, like she almost admires him a bit more just
I,
for
yeah.
him like being able to play her.
Yeah.
And now we've seen Tom over the seasons um kind of like be willing to bend over backwards, do anything, right,
Hmm.
for
Hmm.
her or then Logan. But at the end of the day, he was saying like they both know that he I mean, excuse my French, when she's like, "Oh, he's going to be sucking whoever." she they she knows that about him.
She know. Yeah.
They know the
Yeah.
worst for each other.
Yep.
And earlier in the season, they came up. Should we go to move to a trailer park?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
They are running together. They're running away together. Not
Yeah.
to a trailer park.
Yeah. To a
Um,
penthouse in the highest penthouse in New York, probably. Yeah.
but I think maybe she saw that it was, if it's not going to be me,
Mhm.
then I'm going to be with the guy it's going to be.
That's gonna be, yeah.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Because
it's
if I'm
crazy.
looking at a 9, she's in a better power position, like literally. Besides, obviously, her being crowned the CEO, but she would have had more. I would feel like she would have more leverage working with her brothers, the legacy, than selling off her company. But I mean, this is the decision she wanted to go with. I think you totally agree with you, man. That this was the closest way to the throne. Was
Hmm.
to go her husband, man. And it's funny that I've been watching leading up to the finale, all these clips, the algorithm of the internet just chasing you around.
Hmm.
Succession is all I
Right.
look up. I was seeing all these clips from season 1, and there was a comment that Logan made to her when they were at Connor's house, and he just flat out told her in front of Tom that you just married someone that was a coward, was a pushover. He called her a coward because she married someone lesser than and beneath her, and
Hmm.
to now see the chips on the table run away.
Hmm.
I wonder, man, I would pay money to see what Logan would have thought of this this whole situation play out, man.
Oh God. What was what was really sweet? Seeing Logan again.
That we will get to that moment, man. It was a couple of sweet moments in this hour and a half episode. That being one of them, him seeing his more vulnerable side, which we've never, I don't think, ever really saw him being like kind and joyful and cracking jokes. It was
Yeah.
a moment, man. It
Yeah,
was
it
definitely a
almost it
moment.
almost scared me a little bit, and I was like, "Is he? When is he ever like this?
Right,
Why
like
is he
what's
like
going on?
that?"
Is this even Logan? Is this a made up? Is this
Hmm.
CGI? Is this AI that we're
Right.
seeing right now?
Yeah,
But
some of the
before we
edited
move on,
video.
9, shout out to all 412 of y'all joining us live. You could be watching, Barry. You could be watching, I don't know, Vanderpump. I don't know which shows people watch these days. Y'all could be watching anything, be it anywhere in the world. But the fact you guys are here with us right now, I really appreciate it. So if you can, hit the thumbs up, share, comment, and subscribe to a man's 9 channel, and consider subscribing to this channel here. So before we move on, we got a couple super chats that came through. The homegirl Niecy Smith saying those kids are not serious people. I'm telling you, Niecy, I need a shirt 9 that says that with all their pictures on it, because man, that scene that we'll break down later, man, I felt embarrassed for them. Like I literally
Mm.
felt embarrassed them having
Hmm.
that childish blow up in front of all the important people.
Yeah,
Oh
that was pretty bad.
my goodness, 9.
Not
I was
serious people.
embarrassed, man. But thank you, Nisi. Silver Scale, thank you so much for the super chat. Ken's selling point to the women he's been sexist against the whole time was, I'm the oldest boy. Son. Do you not hear
Oh
yourself?
my gosh. Yeah, that was probably one of the saddest things I've ever heard out of his mouth.
And then the
And
fact of it all, it's not even true because you're not the oldest. It's
right.
just kind of.
That's right.
My
Yeah.
goodness. Great point, Silver. Thank you for the super chat. And then, as you mentioned earlier, 9, our girl Tyra from Struggle Reviews. How we doing, Tyra? Look at the fellas. I need to watch the show. Yes, Tyra. If you get a
Yeah.
chance, definitely, now
Good
that
time
it's
is
over,
now.
enjoy
Yeah.
yourself. It's a
Hmm.
great show. And I think you will be very, very happy
Mhm.
how everything plays out. But shout out to Tyra. Thank you so much for the love and super chat. My man, JB with the 999 super chat saying that Shiv went from female boss to trophy wife, while Tom went from trophy husband to male boss. Very true. He needed her for power at first, and now she does
Mhm.
him. Yeah, very well said,
Mhm.
JB. It is a very interesting power shift because there have been so many conversations, Nine, in previous seasons as when we were gearing things up and Shiv was like when she was in politics and she was setting Tom up to be the guy. But then once she got into the family business, it was like, okay, now it's my turn. And we saw the shift in the dynamic of the relationship. And that's where things really kind of got rocky when she kind of said, well, hey, now that I'm,
Yeah.
now working with the family, let's switch that. Let me be
Right. Yeah.
the breadwinner and you
My
just be the trophy wife.
name
But
is in the hat, and I'm gonna try to keep it there, regardless if I have to take out your name.
man,
Yeah.
if
It'll,
there's
it'll,
anything I learned from them, Nine, is whenever I do find my partner in life, communication. Nine,
mhm.
communication is key, my man. Man, they were the most. It's like, what did you guys even talk about on your in pillow talk? Like, it's
Oh my
crazy, Nine.
gosh, yeah.
It's crazy, man. But again, guys, thank you for the super chat. Thank you for so much love. Again, I'll try my best to get some comments here. But the best way to kind of weave through all the great stuff that you guys are leaving is obviously super chats because it separates it and it lets me see it. So by no means do you have to give a super chat. I'll try my best to get to all the comments. But let's get back to it, Nine. We're at this point now where the mission at hand is Rome. We gotta get Rome right now. Siobhan knows where he is, because she has a quick conversation with their mother who lets them know where he is. And, Ken finds out where he is, and they're now on their way to their mom to get Rome to vote on their side. And again, this show, before we get into actually breaking down, this is something to appreciate. Whoever scouts this show, as far as like location scouts, they
Oh
have the
my
most
god.
beautiful, like
Yeah.
dreamiest scenes when they're going to different places. It's like, goodness gracious, the budget on
Mhm.
this show is just like, there's no dragons or werewolves or CGI zombies
Right.
walking around, but I'm sure I would love to be an extra on this show, just to
They
be
be
like a
putting that
background
camera to
player chilling
work.
on the beach, right?
Yeah.
Love
they
it.
be putting that camera to work.
Ah,
And I
it's
think
so beautiful, man.
they said in like the post episode clip or whatever,
Yeah.
that was Barbados
Okay,
for
I was wondering.
the
I'm like,
the,
where
the
are they?
people
Because I was
scouting
just
out.
assuming that she was always in Europe somewhere. But yeah, it
Mhm.
definitely has those Barbados beautiful sights to it, man. But as we get into it, Nine, we know our boy Rome last week completely went off the rails, fell off the cliff. Literally, just he wants to feel something, and he found
Mhm.
that feeling by getting beat up by a crowd of people last week. Now he's running to mommy, and mommy's protecting
Mhm.
him, but Shiv already got in his ear, man. She's already planted that seed, and I don't know, Nine. Rome he is just a child, a man
Yeah.
child at the fundamental definition of it is this man right now. As Ken is trying to, see if Stu's on board, trying to get his brother on board. And again, Siobhan has already planted that seed in his ear. Nine, just
Mhm.
your thoughts on how easily swayed Rome is, because that is something that has always been a consistent thing with his character. He's the most wild card player on the show, but something that is very consistent is if you can talk to him enough, you can sway him to get on your
Mhm.
side.
Yeah, and well, first let me start by saying it was like kind of funny because like why was his mom being so secretive? Like, I got someone here.
Yeah.
Um, it's one of your brothers, and it's not
Right.
like you guys really have to communicate that way all the
Right.
time. Um, but yeah, I was like, wow, what a little pathetic piece of trash you're being right now, Roman. Um, and they kind of should have left him there.
Yeah.
If I'm
Seriously.
being honest, man, he needs to take more time and just like hang out, chill,
Man.
uh and get everything, get his life together. But um I did I think last week we seen him really um we seen him really reveal himself, right?
Yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah.
And like he just let that wave of his dad's passing hit him in the worst moment,
Worst possible time. Yeah,
and
no.
in a situation where that's the opposite of like what he wants people to see him as,
Right.
right?
Right.
And under all of that pressure and him crying like that and like actually showing vulnerability to people, uh it broke him.
Yeah.
It completely broke him.
Well said, man. I mean, yeah, this is something that we've always seen him be the wisecracker. Nothing gets under his skin. He's always 10 steps ahead of you emotionally. Like nothing can get to him. But yeah, like you said, man, he finally grieved and it was at the worst possible time. And he suppressed it. It came out in a very negative way last week and it continued over in this week. And again, I'm not gonna forget what Shiv and as well as Ken is doing right now is again, they know that their brother is very he can be manipulated very easily. So they're taking advantage of that in their own right. Like they don't really personally care. Like the man has a scratch on his head. They don't care. They just want to make sure that he can vote on the right side. So it is, it's just so crazy how they just treat each other like trash and like they're complete strangers. But at this point, the conversation that Ken is having with his younger brother is, I need you on my side, man. We literally just spoke about this the night before that we were going to work together. Me and you, the brothers taking down Shivy, but now it's completely switched that narrative. And then I'm sorry, Nine, but I would have punched him in his face so fast when he was just kind of mocking Ken and saying, "No, you're a clown. You're this like, bro,
Oh my god.
you are
Yeah, he
pissing me
sounded so delusional. Like, oh yeah, why can't it be me? And
My
when he was
goodness.
talking about like Logan saying that it wasn't going to be him,
Oh my
was that
man.
that happened off camera or like were we in that? I can't remember exactly when.
The conversation back in episode, I want to say it was the final moments of episode 1 when the kids had, thought that they were going to inquire Pierce, and then Roman was called by his dad and he told Roman that I need someone that can spit fire. Like, and I don't know if Roman took that as
Mm,
like, I want you to lead the company versus Logan say, I just need you by my side,
right.
essentially. So I don't know if he took it that way that like, oh, this is my opportunity. This is what dad wanted. But either way, I mean, all these kids are delusional. They took, Ken talked about it. He was 7 years old when he got the call. Obviously, Shiv had her conversation with her dad, and then Rome brings it up. They were all just fighting for something that really wasn't definitively said by Logan. So, but it was just so frustrating to see him just acting like a child at this point. And I felt the frustration, even though I'm a Ken fan, I still felt the frustration from the character in that moment of how his brother just switched on a dime like that. It's just like, I just saw the frustration. I felt the
Yeah.
frustration, man. It was
When he was like,
nuts.
"Oh yeah, why can't it be me?" I was like, "Really? You
Do we have to
really
spell it out? You're
like
right. Do you not see?
we're going
Yeah,
to have that conversation?" And
yeah, man.
it was really funny. Like they really nail like their sibling dynamics though.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
when they're like just hanging out and doing their thing, chilling at their
hmm
mom's place, I'm like, "Oh yeah, they like seem like they're actually like family."
yeah.
That
It's
was like a last like sweet moment that we were going to get.
Yeah. I mean, I believe Shiv and Rome are supposed to be twins, apparently. None of these characters look like any of each other, but
Yeah, right.
putting that aside, like the aesthetic, like I would never pick out in the lineup that they're siblings. But like you just said, nah, it's the performances. Like you feel I never grew I have a sister that I never grew up with.
Mm,
But I've been around a lot of siblings, and like you said, now they've definitely picked up that essence of like how you can love your sibling at one point, ride or die with them, and you could
mhm.
literally just want to choke them and be on their worst enemy. So
Mhm.
the way that that dynamic between the siblings is just something fantastic, man. And again, at the end of the day, they just allowed their hatred or egos or jealousy of them overtake the logical decisions to make. So, but yeah, to go back to
Mhm.
your point, man, the performances by these siblings is nothing short of like some of the best sibling rivalry that I've ever seen on television.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's incredible,
And
man.
yeah, I really like that. Really
It's
love
it's,
that.
it's a great
Mhm.
dynamic. But speaking of great dynamics, my man, we have this conversation over dinner with Lucas and Tom, and this is the beginning of the
The
reign
end.
of Sir Tom.
Yeah.
First off, Nine, the conversation kind of is swayed with Lucas saying, pitch me. Sell me your
Right.
pitch. Why should I keep you? And I mean, Tom is, as you said earlier, that Siobhan said, he's literally willing to get on those knees and get the knee pads out and really make his presence felt. But he literally is telling him, I'm able to fire people. I can do this, I can do that. I'm your man. I'm willing to get my hands dirty, and I have got my hands dirty.
Yeah.
I'm a manager. Da, 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 da.
Hmm.
But then things get a little bit. Then Lucas speaks, Nine. And he starts to, I don't know how this just shows the cowardless and the lack of backbone this man had. I don't care who you are. There ain't no way
Cockroaches.
in hell now that you're gonna say what you got. This man said to him about his wife and the mother of his child in my face without me being in handcuffs. He
I
tells
was
him,
like, well,
bro, he tells this man, things are, she's getting a little bit too comfortable with me, Tom. And if I'm being honest, I just wanna
yeah,
make sweet lovings to your wife. And,
yeah.
if I can have one thing in the world, it would be your wife. And
Hmm.
I'm gonna tell me your thoughts now. When I just find the photo of this man's face as he's saying this, what did you think about this stuff? Did you just completely lose all hope in Tom being a stand-up guy?
I thought it was wild, right? Because he wanted to hear Tom's pitch, right? But he had that in his back pocket of like, okay, I have this pitch too. Uh, your wife, for your job, right? And I don't know if they were trying to get to the point. Like, I was like, oh, is he really about to say what I think he's about to say? And I think the point he was about to make is like, Shiv is going to be firing you if this goes the other way, and if I do pick Shiv, then you're done. But you can let me have Shiv, and you can be the king. Craziness.
It's like we're back in medieval times of give me your wife for this land or this cow
Right.
or this goat, and I'll make you the richest man in the land. Man, this to me, Nine, was the moment that, okay, it has to be Tom, because literally, if you can say all this stuff to a man's face about his wife and the mother of his child,
Hmm.
then you could do anything. He is now in Lucas's back pocket.
It
Luke,
was like,
he can tell Tom could be told to jump over this table, hop over this person's head, go smack this baby in the face, and he would do it because
mhm.
he is so power hungry now that he is willing to take these insults in this man's face, and he
It
doesn't have the
was
spine, man.
basically no hesitation.
No hesitation.
No hesitation at
He,
all.
he said, "Are you
You had to
uncomfortable
be
on this,
able to,
Tom?" He said, "No, no, man. Let's
yeah.
keep going. Keep talking about how you want to screw my wife and
Yeah.
make me watch what you do."
But like, really, it's like, yeah, I mean, that's fine, but let's talk about that other thing. You want me to be the guy? I'm like, wow,
It's crazy, man.
that was interesting.
If there's one
Um,
thing we learn about Tom in this show, Nine, is he is willing, as he said to Greg in season 3, his soul is whatever remnants of soul he had is long gone. He wants the
mhm,
power, man. Oh my
mhm,
goodness. What a
mhm,
scene. What an
mhm,
absolute scene, Nine. I mean, my goodness, man. So I mean, Lucas puts it out there. You're the guy. I want you to be my CEO. I want you to take the face of the company, aka I want to run you. I want to put the batteries behind you, charge you up, and you be my little
mhm.
toy. And look, let me see. This is the shot here. After all this stuff is being said about you, your wife, and all this stuff, this is the reaction from Tom. Big old
Mhm.
smile.
Right.
Sign me up, coach. Put me in.
Yeah, yeah. He's like, yeah, we could keep it a secret, but yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
And
mm,
then he has the audacity, Lucas, the
yeah.
audacity to call him Logan Mark II.
Oh yeah,
This
yeah.
is Generation 2, of the new Logan of this
He's
Succession
not.
world.
I feel
This
like Tom is like a lot sicker than Logan. You know what I mean?
it's
Like,
something, I'll be honest with you now. Yeah, I would rather, not that I condone, Logan's behavior and what he stands for, his philosophies in life, for what we gather from the show, but I would rather have a definitive person that's that believes in their beliefs so much, rather
mhm,
than someone like Tom that's willing to jump on any bandwagon, willing to jump on any power position. Someone like this is someone you don't trust.
yeah.
I would never trust anything with this man. ever in the context of the show. So yeah, man, this is someone you never want to do business with, someone you never want to fall in love with, and damn near have a child with is this individual on the screen right now. Because as you see, he will smile in your face and just take
Yeah.
it on the chin.
Oh,
Whew,
they're calling it out. Yeah. Tom the Pain Sponge. That was a interesting line. That was an interesting line.
man.
And the
What?
crazy thing to smile at.
Yeah, man, and it doesn't end there, Nine, because Tom's kind of second in command, who we know to be Greg. Greg's just like, yeah, what happened, man? Do you still have a job? Do I still have a job? And Tom plays it very coy. He's like, you're going to be fed. You're going to be taken care of, my little baby boy, as he tells him. And
Yeah.
we have, I don't know this scene was just so funny to me. It just shows that Greg is just like a little sponge on the wall, a little fly on the wall. We have Lucas and Oscar talking in their native tongue, and he puts on the translator, and it simply just says, "When we tell Shiv, she's not going to be the one," type of thing. But
This is when
this
things
goes
start
back to,
heating up, I feel like.
yeah,
This is when
yeah,
things start heating up
yeah, man,
because I was actually having a conversation with somebody just a couple of days ago, and they were pitching like, oh no, it's going to be Tom, and I was like, Greg will be in a better position than Tom is by the end of this, right? And this is when I was like, okay, Greg is up to something. He's using every single one of
yeah,
the skills that he's
yeah,
picked up all throughout the show. He's listening in on like just a couple of weeks when Tom told him that like information is the weapon
yes,
that you use
it's like a
until you
fine
it's a
wine.
fine
Keep
wine.
it, and then you
Yes,
bash him over the head with it. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, man. I'm totally with you, man. I did think that there was going to be one more. I mean, he ultimately did tell on Greg or Tom. He not sold him out, but he ended up telling the information that he wasn't
Hmm.
supposed to. But I was totally with you. Now I thought it was going to be a little bit more detrimental. It could have been because they obviously
Hmm.
was trying to make a move and they were gonna win. They were gonna get
Hmm.
Lucas out of that chair. But I thought it was going to be a little bit more like, ah, ha, ha, I have this over you, Tom, and now you're my little lackey. So yeah, I thought there was
Hmm.
going to be one more little surprise by Greg. Rather, obviously, we know the cruises thing is kind of resolved to an extent, but
Hmm.
I thought, like you said, I thought it was going to be maybe something that he had in his back pocket, which
But
it was
I
this information. But yeah,
and in the end, like a lot of people were like, "Oh yeah, it's going to be Greg, right?" But
yeah,
in the end, like he is in a better position than all like the siblings, right?
yeah,
He is now the number two. It's not Greg, but
yeah.
like he's number two. He's right there.
I
He,
mean, listen now.
he said
I
you're
mean, I
going to
don't
be
need to remind everyone at
decimated.
home, but just in case y'all forgot, first episode, season one, this man was in a mascot and working in a theme park,
Yeah.
vomiting from the night before, literally at the ground zero, and just if you go back to that season one, making his way into the house, introducing himself as Greg, the cousin,
Yeah. Wasn't
and
Greg.
now to just see where he is now, you're totally right,
Hmm.
Nine. I mean, he's not the man, but I mean, he's at a much anyone in his position would be more than happy
He went
to end where
from
he is, man.
fetching Logan slippers all throughout the city to literally calling for the next president of the United States.
Yeah, that's oh my gosh. Now that you put it like that, man,
It's
it's
insane.
just
It's
it's
insane.
mind boggling. If
Biggest
there's
come
anything
up.
at home you guys can take away from the show, you can be the next Greg.
I
Just have
mean,
the water balls thrown at you, take all the
mhm,
verbal abuse, and you, ladies and gentlemen at home,
yeah.
might be Greg.
Mhm. You might get slept around a little bit, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you end up on top.
He said, no, your pay is going to get decimated, but you
Yeah.
will be with me.
From
I'm like,
200,000 to
damn.
200,000 is
Yeah,
crazy, man.
crazy.
But before we move on, man, we got a couple more. We got over 466 of y'all wonderful, awesome people joining us live. I really appreciate it, man. I'm gonna miss the hell out of this show because this is so great. But I'm gonna more importantly miss these conversations with my man Nine and miss all you guys a part of this awesome community. So if you guys are having a good time, do me a favor, thumbs up, share, continue to leave your comments in the comment section. Consider subscribing to both of our channels, and That's all be some Gregs. But
Yeah.
let me move on and see
Yeah.
what my man Paul was talking about with the 189 super chat. What Roman said about Ken's kids is, yeah, man.
That line
Ooh,
was crazy.
cold
Yeah.
blooded.
And
And I
he's like,
listen,
okay,
nah,
let me give you a hug.
I was right there with him, smashing his face like a
He's like,
pumpkin,
what?
bro.
Who
Like, what'd you
does
say?
something like that? I mean,
Despicable, man.
where did he get that Undertaker ass move from, though?
It's
Like,
wrong, bro.
just
Nothing. After nothing shocks me at this point, but that's a low blow, man. Woo. But thank you,
yeah.
Paul, for the super chat. Travis, with the $5 super chat. Last time, I'm gonna harp on this, but you think Make Shiv is a scroll?
Ship is a stroll. Like
Is this a crossover with the MCU,
right.
Thomas? I mean, hey, for my MCU fans, the actor Tom, what is his name in real life? I'm blanking on his name, but he is going to be in the MCU. So I don't know. You might be onto something, Travis. We might see a
Oh,
crossover.
really?
Yeah, he's going to be in Deadpool. I can't. The
Okay.
actor's name is literally slipping my mind right now, but he is going to be in Deadpool
That's
3.
going to
So
be pretty funny to
he's
watch.
going to be the CEO he's going to be the big question is who bought the Avengers Tower. Tom is going to be the person that
Oh,
bought. I'm joking.
okay.
We'll see. We'll see. He's
I
going to be
can
the
see
CEO.
that.
We got to explain the strong reaction from. Oh, yo, I trust me. That's in my notes. Mortal 4 6 or 6 8. I will definitely get to that later because that was something that it threw him off. I don't know what threw him off more, Nine. Having Uncle Ewan throw him off at the funeral last week, or if it was seeing Jerry walk in the office and him just completely lose his mind of just not being able to handle anything as a man.
Like, he is messed up. He was just with his mommy, and then he saw his mommy
His
at
other
work, his other mommy at work, and just could not handle it.
yes, Matthew.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, he is a great actor, and he will be making his MCU debut in Deadpool 3. But drop any other questions that you guys might have for us before we move on, because we definitely have a lot more to discuss. But Nine, man, again, as I'm watching, it's so crazy when you're watching a finale, like especially like this, and if you've been, we're big fans of the show. It's almost surreal, Nine, when you're
Yeah.
watching a finale because it almost felt like there was still more story to be told. Like
Yeah.
I would love to see what does a Waystar Gojo company look like with Tom running the helm. I would love to see
Right.
what Ken's going to do now and all this stuff. So obviously we'll get back into the discussion now. But how do you, when you watching a finale, are you like on pins and needles? Are you just kind of like what was your feelings while watching this episode, man? Just kind of navigating through this.
Not gonna lie, I didn't even take any notes,
Yeah,
right?
I mean my
I was
notes
just
are
like,
very limited. Yeah,
I was like just really taking it in. And yeah, I'm so glad it was this long. It felt like a
yeah,
proper
man.
like runtime. It felt like they did use their time very wisely too.
Mhm.
Um, but it's a bittersweet moment, right?
Yeah,
It's really bittersweet. But
yeah, man.
I gotta say, this finale felt a lot better than the Game of Thrones one. So we could talk about that.
Who's in a better position? Is it Bran running the Seven Kingdoms, or is it Tom running
Yeah.
this company? Who
Is
would you rather work for? Nine. Who would you rather
who
be the
has a
leader of?
better story than Greg the Egg? But yeah,
My
I
goodness,
thought it
my
was
goodness.
really nice. I'm gonna run it back. I'm probably gonna run it
Oh
back.
yeah, for sure, man. I'm gonna not only run back this finale, but run back the whole season, and obviously take it back to the first episode,
Mhm.
man, because it's now knowing the ending, how it all plays out. You're just gonna watch it from the beginning and just see all the little moments, especially now knowing who's on top with
Mhm.
Tom and just seeing those moments of how he made his way to where
Right.
he is, and just seeing the kids just slowly but surely screw themselves over, man. It's gonna be a great rewatch for sure.
Yeah, and now that it's over, it's like one of those shows. Like even though it's over, a lot more people might be picking it up, and
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
really interested to see you know when everyone's able to like binge watch it all at once, right?
Hmm.
Like it kind of like changes, you know, it kind of changes its perception. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be
Nah,
fun to see. other people's
This
takes on that.
This is 100% nine, a show that I think people, because not everyone, this just didn't get to like Game of Thrones levels as far as like viewership goes, but it was a well received show, obviously, and a well watched show. But yeah, man, I think this is definitely one of those shows that people will catch on to. Like everyone knows about it. Like I know a lot of people have heard of Succession, but they never watched it
Mhm,
because it's like, what is this show about? You want me to watch a bunch of rich
mhm.
people bickering at each
Yeah.
other? But it's like, no, it's a lot more than that. But
Right.
yeah, I think it's definitely going to find an audience years down the road and become like one of those shows that's already a big hit. But I
Mhm.
think it's going to definitely have a second, third, fourth,
Yeah.
type of bunch of people that's going to catch on to it and appreciate what it was during its time. So
I
I agree with
really
you, man.
wonder, like, if people, start watching it and with that in mind,
Yeah.
that it's going to be Tom, it's going to be funny to see people like, no way, it's going to be him, right? Like all throughout, like how are we going to get from hit there to him being at the top? I think
Whew.
that's yeah, it's going to
Started
be
from the bottom, man. Now he's here. It's
exactly.
gonna be great, man. But getting back into our discussion again, guys, appreciate y'all being here. Again, it's a reminder to like, share, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff there.
Mhm.
But nah, man, getting back into the discussion, my man. We have the moment where going back to maybe Greg not really learning the lessons from Tom. He told him last week, as you mentioned earlier, to when you get information, you store like a fine wine and you bash someone over the head with it. A little bit premature, Greg. We have the conversation. Greg calls Ken. He tells him the news about Elise. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Now, I don't think Greg knew that it was Tom in the running. He just knew that there was other CEOs that was on the block because I don't think
Mhm.
Tom explicitly told him it's going to be me. He just said that we're fine, we're good, so on and so forth. But let me know, did you read that wrong? Did you feel as though I want to again rewatch the episode? This is on the first view, and Tom
Right.
didn't tell Greg I'm the man. He just alluded to we're good now. Did you read that differently, or did I misread that scene as far
Right.
as
I don't
information
think
being
Greg
told?
knew exactly what was going on, or else he would have let that information slip
Right.
with uh uh with Kendall.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So but yeah, I think exactly what was the text. What did he overhear? He just heard that it's not going to be Shiv, right?
Right, exactly.
Right.
When he saw the translation there and the
Mhm.
conversation, yeah. So he just knows. He calls Ken and again, man, these like little vultures. He says, "Hey, man, I just need to know: are you in Rome really going to win?" Again, they're just trying to find their
Mhm.
allegiances and find who they can latch on to. And Ken takes again. This is like prematurely, but this is the Ken. Again, he takes advantage of the situation. First person he goes to. I don't know none of the character development. I love Shiv. I love the actress. But when the moment happens, not I was kind of torn because I was like, yes, it
Hmm.
finally blows up in her face that she's been played this
Mhm.
whole time. But at the same time, I love the character so much that I kind of felt bad. But then I didn't at the same time. How did you feel, Nine, when Ken ultimately gets the news? He immediately goes, and by the way, I don't want to leave out the fact that Peter, their stepdad, is just a straight up clown, and
He's
their
probably just
mom
bitching.
has
Yeah.
Jonathan, selling them on some pyramid scheme of like
Right.
selling, I don't know, blankets to people.
The margins are
And
good.
yeah, and they're just like, no, this is why we
Yeah.
don't visit mom's house. There's a bunch of buffoonery going on.
Yeah.
So that's going on. He's like, all right, we need to have a little powwow. And how did you feel, Nine? Again, we've been talking about Shiv for the last several weeks about her, just, turning on her brothers, leaving her legacy behind, the back and forth, feeling bad for her at one point, hating her at one point. How did you feel when she officially got the news that all this hard work she's been putting in to screw over her family and her brothers in particular end up getting the pie
That
in her
was
face, man? How did you feel about that moment when she was like calling him and
he
not answering? I think Nine, the
so
face
he's
right
not
here says it
answering.
all.
Does he usually not answer? Like, hey, can you shut the fuck up? I'm trying to I just the face does say it all. And yeah, an excellent performance because you can see that uh uh, uh the realization, that sense of panic that was like swelling up with her, right? But I love that character because she is still able to like, okay, right away, what's going to be our next move, right?
It's a good
And
point. Yeah,
I
yeah.
do like when I like when they are united against like a common enemy, right?
Right.
Yeah.
temporarily. Yeah, yeah,
Temporarily for
yep,
that meantime, they were, they're focused. That was like a lot of what Logan provided
yep,
was that.
yep,
So they were able to be like, okay, now we're back to pushing this, getting to work, right?
yeah.
And yeah, it was great. It was great. But yeah, she had to. I knew they were going to be serving her an L. I knew they were going to be serving her one final L to deal with before it's all said and done.
Yeah,
Uh, and like it's a crazy commentary because she kind of just like resides for the fact that she knew she wasn't like Roman, like, oh, it's not going to be it, why can't it be me? She kind of just like, it's over for me. Like, this is my
yeah,
last one.
yeah.
I don't got another fight in me.
Man,
Yeah.
the pettiness of me, nine. I almost wish they would have rubbed it in her face a little bit more. If I'm being honest with you. Be like, so this is your man's, this is your guy, this
Mhm.
is who you rolling with, right? Right, right.
Right. Yeah,
He's not
yeah.
picking up your calls. Oh, that's
Hmm.
weird. That's strange. Right? I don't know, man. I just would have,
Hmm.
we're big Atlanta fans, and I think of Earn and the final season of that whole thing that he played on that woman that didn't allow him on the plane, in the depths of what he went to get his payback.
Yeah.
If I was one of the brothers, I would have sat in that. I would have sat in that tub
Yeah.
just a little longer, just a little soaking a little bit more. Like, oh
Right.
man,
Yeah.
Shiv, that
Wow.
sucks that you
Yeah,
went.
man. Yeah.
Stab it. But they didn't, as you mentioned. There's a little bit more maturity, at least on Ken's side. He's playing into the situation. Like, come on, what are you gonna do? And she's like, let's screw him over and work together and whatnot. But
Hmm.
then they all have their hand in the ring, and this is when you mentioned earlier. Rome's like, well, guys, Dad did say it would be me, and Ken says, when I was 7 years old, he'll say it'd be me, and of course, Siobhan says her whole piece of how it was gonna be her, and back and forth. It's just like
Yeah.
these are literally children right now. Now it's like you guys are you're literally bringing it back to being kids, and your dad telling you something and how they took it. It's just like, can you guys just be adults for 2 seconds, please? Where are the adults? But in this moment now, we go from that to them finally having a moment of Ken saying, listen, Shiv, you can have ATN, rule the world for all I care, and run the media. Rome, socials, my man, what you're good at.
Mhm.
You like to be on that side of business. I'll let you do that. And things are shaping up to look like a good situation, Nine, because
Mhm.
first off, whenever I see a character go swimming and it's in the night, I'm like, dude, what's about to happen? Jaws about to come out and eat this man alive. He's about to drown.
Yeah.
Something's crazy. But we have Siobhan and Rome talking on the sideline, like, well, you don't want it to be him, but it ain't gonna be me. It ain't gonna be you. They
Let's kill
ultimately
him.
come to the decision. And also, I love the little joke of like, let's just
I
kill him.
I I was like, are they serious?
Let's just kill him right now.
I,
Let's hit him
I
over the head. And they're
yeah.
mocking them like, guys, this isn't cool. What, like that was
That
kind of
was
funny.
so good. They
Yeah.
they nailed that. They nailed him.
Very great
They
Ken
nailed
impersonation for
that.
sure. But now we talked about it a couple weeks ago. Whenever the kids are on the same page, there's like a moment of sincerity, a moment of like warmth that you feel from them, because we know what kind of house they were raised in. Yes, they had a silver spoon in their mouth raising growing up, but their dad wasn't the nicest guy. He didn't really show them the love that they probably deserved as kids. But whenever they bond together, as they're on this little, whatever you want to call it, float on the water, and we're gonna anoint you the king. I don't know, Nine. It was,
I
as
didn't
I
think
said,
we
the
were going to
watch
get any
party. I'm
moments
like,
like that
it's the
before.
calm before the storm. It's
Hmm.
like it was a sweet, earnest moment. Nine, how did you feel about the siblings for probably the last time ever
Yeah.
bonding with each other?
Man, I did not think that we were going to get a moment like that again.
Yeah.
It reminded me of, I think, season 2 or 3 when they were just sitting on the docks and like, I think they were just like smoking a joint or whatever.
Season
Yeah.
1, yeah, it was the night before her wedding that they were under the
Okay,
little
right, right,
bridge
right,
and, like, cheering them. I
right.
think each season, I can't remember specifically in season 2, I'm pretty sure there is one, but I think each season we've seen them have a moment where they're, like, putting all the BS aside and just, like, cherishing
Mhm,
each other's, presence. So, yeah, I'm
mhm.
sorry, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, it's like really, it was a really good moment for them to like be able to push that to the side. Um, I thought they were going to talk more about Logan, and I found it was really interesting is because when Kendall did say he told me it was going to be me when I was 7, they all
Right.
kind of like were like, oh, yeah, he probably shouldn't have done that. Like they were like, oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry that like you did
At
that.
that
I was
young
like,
of an
man,
age to
like
plant that seed in someone's head that they're going to be
right.
destined for something. Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like they kind of had this understanding of like, yeah, that probably did mess with you a bit, right?
Yeah.
And I think I was a little bit afraid because, like you said, whenever Kendall's around water, I just feel like
Not a good thing. Not a
it's
good
not a
thing. Yeah.
good thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
and maybe I believed them that they were going to might kill him just like a little bit, but I did think that like, oh, will something happen to Kendall here, or like
Yeah.
like man, that riptide or something,
Yeah. Something
and like
tragic, something crazy.
yeah, something crazy. But I'm glad
Yeah.
that they did get that moment before the storm.
Yeah, man. It was literally, man. I didn't tear up, but it was an emotional moment that I just appreciated from number one of these actors. It almost just felt like a release because again knowing that this episode, the cheese. Oh, we're gonna get to the cheese. I go, darling, the cheese, not pizza's cheese.
The
You
nobbies.
know, again, they just buried their father 24 hours ago. They
Hmm.
lost their dad 6 episodes ago, so 6 days ago. This is a moment that they finally get to breathe because this whole, and that's why I love about this season in particular was every day was an episode. So we saw in real time find out some bad news and got to figure it out, wake up the next day and try to figure it out. So like we were in the trenches with these characters, and this was a moment for me that they finally got to just finally kind of sit back, relax, and just have fun. Right,
Hmm.
put the BS aside. Who's running the kingdom? Who's doing this dealings and all that? Like, just be fun. Like when I was watching this night, I was like, man, this seems like a prequel of when they were kids. Like their
Right.
mom, when they go to their mom's house, because again, we know Logan had the kids, but when they were teens, they would probably do this every night, make fun of whoever mom was dating at the time, and just being
Hmm.
happy, man. This is something we rarely see now. So I really, really much enjoyed this, and I got a good
Hmm.
laugh out of the cheese, dear. Not pizza's cheese.
It,
Very
it,
funny
it makes me
stuff.
sad because like they never do that with Connor. They
God,
never
Connor,
do that
man.
with Connor.
He is just, man,
Put some
and we're gonna
respect
get
on his
to it here
name.
in a second because he had it. I mean, that scene that we'll talk about with them seeing their dad happy, like there's a level of like that I think we all. I'll just speak for myself that I kind of downplayed the relationship that Connor and Logan had,
Hmm.
of like this kind of like even though he was maybe a disappointment for Logan, I think there was still something about the relationship that we never really got to explore. But I think Connor, in a weird way, knew that he had a somewhat deeper relationship than the other
Yeah,
kids.
I was like, oh, it almost seems like they're all realizing that, like when they were like just striving for his like validation and everything,
Yeah,
Connor was like actually low key just like hanging out with them and like having like more sweet moments with
yeah,
Logan.
especially towards the end.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, and especially towards the end of not obviously they didn't know their dad was going to die so soon, but he was really the
Hmm.
last one that was like in a good position because the other
Hmm.
kids were trying to fight him. But the question I have for you, Nine, is joking aside, the kids coming together aside, I just need to know, Nine, and everyone watching, how much am I going to have to pay you to drink that disgusting egg tobacco, the spit just almost the
I
vomit in my
mean,
mouth. Are
to
you
be
drinking that
king,
Nine for I don't know, $100? 100 on the table?
to
What's
be
your number,
king,
Nine?
to be king. I mean, he should have drank it. He should have drank it like all
At
because
that point, right? Just might as
yeah,
well go.
maybe Shiv
Yeah.
wouldn't have done that if he if he
Jeez.
respected the rule. They said, we'll vote for you, but you gotta drink and do this childish ass
Goodness
shit for
gracious.
us. Yeah, very weird. They have really weird customs. Remember, like Shiv bringing up Bitey
Oh, the Bitey
that
game
yeah,
and
and it's like
Rome eating dog food as a kid, and yeah,
yeah.
there's some weirdos, man. I mean, I guess you got this level of like you got to be a little some screws loose when you're dealing with these type of rich people.
Hmm.
They're not normal individuals.
Right.
But again, the heart of the scene really stood out to me. But I don't know. I guess before we move on, Nine, was this genuine? Do you think they were literally genuinely happy, sincere, honest with each other in that moment? For a split second, was there some angle, some game being played, or do you think this was a genuine moment between the siblings
I
here?
I think it was a genuine moment.
Yeah,
Well, and like you said, they have a genuine moment. Uh,
At least once a
at least
season.
once a
At least
season.
once a year.
And I mean, but like, yeah, exactly. But last season, it was probably when Kendall revealed like what he did, right? And that made we never really have them talking about that, right?
Right.
Uh,
Right.
and I think that that has an important aspect of like again like why Shiv does make the decision at the end.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, man, yeah.
It was the last hurrah before they say their goodbyes. Because I honestly think Rome and Shiv are probably talking again, but I genuinely think that Kim would probably never talk to them. Like I think you
Mhm.
mentioned it last week during the Ewan and Logan, like their relationship, how they never they spoke, but it was never like in a like brotherly
Mhm.
love for each other. I think Ken is the Logan in the situation, and Shiv and Rome is Ewan. We're never going to see those pair or those three be in the same room, at least from Ken's perspective. So it's
Man, I
kind of
don't
it's
know
kind
if
of
Kendall
sad,
will
man.
ever speak again to anybody.
Ever. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Because again, I'm bringing up earlier how I mentioned how the algorithm kept chasing me because I always looking up Succession things. There's so many scenes I saw, like little clips that I would see online of how there were just so many moments that Ken was a nice brother to Rome, like he was protecting his little brother when the dad hit him, when
Yeah.
Shiv was down and out, the brothers were stepping up. Oh, you want us to kill Tom? Like there are moments
Yeah.
where I think they
Right.
did actually love and care for each other. But at the end of the day, their egos were just too big and just too inflated for them to actually be grounded and realize that these are the kids they grew up with. And throughout all the stuff they went through, which is surviving their father, they just couldn't put that aside for
Mhm.
the right reasons, man. It's crazy.
Mhm.
It's crazy, man. But before we move back into the breakdown, man, again, just shouting out all 437 of y'all. I don't know if you're watching on your couch, if you're on a lunch break, if you're flying in the air. I appreciate y'all joining us right now, man. And if you can, if you got a smartphone, if you got your computer, your tablet, it's a little thumbs up
Yeah.
button on.
Hit that.
Can y'all hit that button for me? I would
Hit that.
appreciate it. If you could, I would appreciate it.
Hit that
Potentially
like
share this,
button
man.
to make sure
Share,
that
like.
JoJo Bill gets blocked.
Yeah, exactly. Share, comment, all that good stuff, man. I really appreciate it. And if you guys have any comments, just a little side bar for us, let us know before we move on. I'm trying to see if there's anyone brought any comments here. We got one here from Sexy 7-1 with the 489 super chat. Tom earned it. He ate. That is a funny scene. Thank you for the chicken, Logan. And he
Yeah.
said when he told Shiv, I wonder the sad I'll be without you would less be sad being. Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
about
man.
he's still figuring it out. I guess he
Yeah.
made his decision that he's just going to be sad with her, but also he's going to be loaning her out.
It's crazy, man. But great comment there. Thank you for the super chat. And yeah, man, Tom, we're gonna get to him here in a second. But I guess before getting back into the next scenes, but I guess the question I have for you now, just kind of looking at it from an analytical standpoint, unanswered questions. We kind of talked about it up top, but just kind of was there anything that you wanted to see in this finale that didn't? And again, we're going to continue to break down these scenes here, but was there anything in particular that stood out to you that you didn't get resolved? Again, Mencken being officially announced as the president and the ballots being confirmed, the Reva and the kids are their safety being in the forefront. The Pierce acquisition. I mean, there's probably several other storylines, plots that were introduced to us that that's not coming to mind, but those are the big ones that come to mind. Was there something in particular that you wanted from the finale that you didn't get tonight?
Yeah, I mean, what did he do for cable, Carl, in the 90s? Yeah, there's all of these small like idiosyncrasies that each character has, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those shows that you do want to like just know more and like kind of get a uh get some closure
Right.
with everybody, right? I
Right.
kind of wanted to have like more moments with Jess. I wanted to have
Right.
some more
We didn't get
moments with
her. Yeah.
Jerry.
Right. Right.
Maybe it what if they did have that meeting Justin Kendall did have that meeting
Mm,
I know
yeah.
they like slightly talked about it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I wonder you know if they if we could have seen a little bit of that, some more of
Yeah.
that. So,
And I'm reading some of the comments. Yeah, like the Manson, the blood situation with
mhm.
Ebba. There's so many like little, Roman firing the executive of the studio. Like, what were
Yeah.
the ramifications of him doing that? It seems to be
Hmm.
nothing. There's little things like that that come to mind that just felt like, again, ultimately, as we saw from the finale, it didn't end up being that important because they didn't obviously bring it back up. But it almost makes you wonder why even bring those things up if you're not gonna fully conclude. I mean,
Hmm.
that's life. Sometimes you don't get answers for certain things. You don't
It,
always close a chapter to every book you open. So I guess there's that. But I guess ultimately, at the end of the day, the main, will the kids rule the company? Will they take their father's legacy and run with it, or will they lose it? That was answered. But again, there's all
mhm,
those little side plots, pot B, pot C, that I
mhm.
wish maybe would have been resolved. But
Yeah. Now, and I got a question for the audience too. If you're commenting, do you do we believe that Tom and Shiv will make it though?
you know what, put a pin in that, now, because I'm gonna leave that for the final shot of the
Okay.
season, which we'll get to that. So definitely, I will remember that. I have that in my notes, so we will definitely get to that because that's definitely a question I have as well.
My
But
guy Tom said this at the
yeah,
end of the
he's just like,
episode.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
just great hand holding, just hovering over each other. But getting back into our breakdown, Nine, as we talk about the kids finally on the same page, another kind of funny moment, if you want to call it that, with the kids going to, I guess another question I have, did Connor officially buy the house for 64 million from Masha? I
The
guess so,
magic, yeah.
because Willa said that she has some plans and they're going to kind of have a long distance relationship. And we're going to talk about Connor here in a second, but they play this kind of game of like putting stickers on things around the house, and whoever gets the most stickers can take their belongings with them. And before we get to the sentimental moment with Logan, since this is the last scene we got with Connor, Nine, just, I guess, how do you feel about his chapter being closed? Because ultimately we find out that he's going to go to Somalia, somewhere overseas. Willa is gonna run her opera, her plays in their home, and they're gonna have a long distance relationship, yada yada yada. So ultimately, since this is the last scene with Connor, man, final thoughts on Connor, Willa, will they survive their marriage, this
Oof.
long distance relationship?
Willa, yeah, she seemed pretty excited for that long distance
Yeah, yeah,
relationship.
he's like, yes,
Um, but Connor also seemed like happy too. You know what I mean?
yeah,
As a con head myself, I'm kind of happy for like his character. He's going to be doing what he wanted to do or whatever. He's trying to make an impact, and at the end of the day, he didn't win the election, but
right.
he is he's still making moves. He seems to be mentally in a better place than anybody else.
It's a good point, Nine. That is a good point because when we first were
Willa for the
introduced to him,
streets.
Will, I
Sorry, I
see
was
that,
just.
yeah. When we first introduced to him, he was just always the outside looking in and kind of kept his hands out of the family business. But he got a wife out of this show. He has some type of leadership, whatever he's going to be doing overseas. He's going to be some man in position of power. So I
Mhm,
think out of all the kids, funny enough, he got the best out of the situation. He
mhm.
walks away with he lost 100 million, but he just gained probably, I don't know how much the split is between however much the company was ultimately bought for and split amongst his children.
Oh yeah,
He's walking
he's
out pretty
good.
happy man.
He's good, good.
Yeah, man.
And I thought it was like a very interesting thing because they made it a point to be like, what about dad's medals, right? And I
Mm,
think it's like very interesting that he's the one that he's like, I'm taking these,
right.
and
No
of
debate.
course with the memories that he was able to share with his father or whatever. So like in
Yeah.
a way, like he kind of is inheriting a lot more from uh from Logan than anyone
Right.
else. Yeah.
Well
So that's
said, man. Well said. And I mean, that's a perfect segue now into the man, the myth, the legend, making his final appearance in an artificial way, which is via a video that I think they said it was taken about a week or so before, I guess, the series or this season started, or kind of a week before he passed away. But it
mhm.
was like a virtual dinner where obviously we know Siobhan, Ken, and Rome weren't there because they were obviously trying to take out their dad. But it was a moment that I think they got emotional because they realized like all this time that we were trying to defeat him and prove him wrong, they missed out on like these tender moments with their very, bigger than life father who they were terrified of since kids. But it's moments like this, it shows you that even though he's a very, intimidating individual, he did have moments like look at that
Mhm.
Carrie, Jerry laughing, Carl from like what is this real? What is this
Yeah.
manipulated, right? But no, it shows you those tender moments that it shows that he did have moments like this.
Mhm.
But what did you think about this scene? The last time we saw Logan essentially on screen was having a fun time, but he didn't have any of his. Well, he had Connor there, not to
Mhm.
neglect
Right.
Connor, but he didn't have the whole
Yeah.
family there.
Right. Yeah. He's with his people, right? He's with the old guard. They're like singing old, war songs, right?
Yeah,
Like, they go way, way back, right?
yeah, yeah.
And what I was trying to make sense of like what he was doing though. Like what he was listing off a bunch of what, like presidents and stuff.
Yeah, I think they said it was a game, like you mentioned. It's like a game they used to play. And I think they
Hmm.
did this not in. They played a similar game to the on the Thanksgiving episode or whatever the episode was when they were all at a dinner table when he was healed. Like this,
Yeah.
yeah, it's like a little fun game that they play. I think it was like all the presidents that they maybe elected or presidents that they put in powers of
Phew.
position to win
Yeah.
because obviously they have such an influence.
Yeah.
But or maybe it was presidents that they burned bridges with and destroyed their careers. But
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. Yeah, it did remind me of that scene
yeah.
from the Thanksgiving because he couldn't remember anything back then,
Right, right, right,
right?
right.
It seemed like he couldn't remember nothing.
Yeah,
But now he's smooth. He was smooth with it.
yeah,
And I thought that was really interesting. I love how Connor he said, "I'm gonna do just a little teapot," but from Logan Roy's perspective, it says, "I'm a little teapot.
yeah,
Fuck off."
yeah. It was
That was
again
nice.
to me. It just goes to show that Connor and his as I'll pull up here, they had a again. You can theorize who was maybe the closest son, Ken, Rome at one point to Shiv. But I mean, Connor, we always kind of make fun of Connor, but he had a relationship with his father. It might have not been
Mhm.
the most stable or most consistent, but it was something that Connor respected from his father. And the same could be said about Logan. But yeah, it was a nice moment, man. And again, I wouldn't want to play any of Logan's games, especially bore on the floor. But this seemed like a game that at least was, not embarrassing to say the
Right.
least.
Exactly.
But a
Yeah.
nice moment.
Hmm. And
Definitely a nice moment.
yeah, Connor is kind of like that guy. We think like he set up that little meeting before. Um,
Yeah.
he kind of had to like lie to them and get them into the same room, but he was trying to mend it. And he
Yeah.
seemed to be the only person, the only kid that has made Logan laugh before. You
Mm.
know?
There was again I keep bringing up these little TikToks I saw. There was a moment that Roman made Logan laugh. He said something about
Mhm.
their mom, like whenever they go to their mom's house, they get like terrible food or whatever, and he like had a belly laugh. But no, I think there was like like you said, like just like an understanding between Connor and Logan. And as we see the kids again, maybe a little bit of regret that they didn't get to spend these type of moments with their father one last time. And again, going back to the Logan in the scene, he looked happy, Nine. Like he legit looked happy with,
Mhm.
I guess going back to my whole unanswered questions to an extent, Carrie, like
Yeah.
was she ever pregnant with his child? Did they, because
Yeah.
that whole thing of season 3 when he's like he's taking some medicine to have kids again. But Carrie's in the scene, he seems happy with her, and like you said, he seems happy with his old guard and seems to be content.
Yeah, when Roman was found out about him trying to have kids again,
Yeah.
he's like, "Yeah, we got to stop that."
Yeah.
And Shiv goes, "Yeah, you finally have a worthy opponent."
Yeah.
Talking
Yeah.
about the baby. That's nice.
Well, speaking of babies, Nine, these
Oh,
two parents are expecting a baby, and I wouldn't want to be that child growing up in this house because my goodness, Nine, As we kind of wind down the episode again, everything's seeming so happy. People are laughing and crying and coming together, but nah, not at this point. Nine, we have the moment between Shiv and Tom, and he's playing kind of coy to the situation about him knowing the information. She kind of looks at him, he looks at her, and he says, "I might as well just tell you, honey, because you're gonna find out eventually. It's me. It's me, your boy, Tommy boy." Taking over the company, and she obviously her first reaction was "F off, get out of here, stop playing with me."
The
But no, he says,
rage.
"No, it's the truth. I'm the one. I'm the quote king of the company." And my goodness, Nine, as I was doing the watch party tonight, I got chills of just that switch in her when she, again, going back to earlier in the episode, when she put that switch on when she found out that Lucas betrayed her. Now that Tom's getting control, when she's just like, "Let's go, let's take them out." It was, and then the score pops in. I'm like,
Yeah,
"Yo,
I was like,
let's
"Oh, they're going
go!"
to go to war." That
Yes.
was epic, and I love how because Shiv has got that thing where she's like can read minds a little bit. You
Yeah.
don't have to say the full thing, but he's like, "Yeah, but maybe you should still vote for
Yeah.
that deal
Yeah.
to go
Just
through."
kind
And
of slightly.
she like is in disbelief.
Yep.
She's picking up on the subtext, right?
Exactly.
But she
Exactly.
is in disbelief. And again, Sarah Snook, phenomenal actress, and you could just
Man.
see it all over her face, like the just realization.
Yep.
But it's like already had that realization that she wasn't going to be the one, but then the realization that it was going to be Tom.
Tom, bro.
Wow.
Nine, I'm thinking of season 3's finale when she found out that Tom told on them and told Logan that they were going to, go
Yeah.
behind his back and whatever. And that look on her face of just pure shock. And she didn't
Mhm.
really have a response. I think she kind of learned from that in this scene because her response, she was stunned in season 3, but now she's, back in action. But I don't know which feeling which her throat dropped. Was it season 3 or was it in this moment hearing the words that either her husband sold her out to her dad or that her husband's going to be running the company that her dad built? I'm just very
Mhm.
curious on which moment Siobhan felt just the worst because the scene's just
I would
beautiful, man.
say this one had like a kind of like double whammy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But last season, that was just an iconic moment
Yeah,
because
man.
it was another little small moment of nothing really needs to be said.
Right. Right.
He just put his arm on her last time, and yeah,
Yeah.
that's intense.
I
That's
agree.
intense.
And I think to your point too, the beauty of this particular moment was we didn't see the aftermath of when they found out that Tom, well, at least she found out, she put two and two together that Tom snitched her out. We obviously that was the finale. We didn't see the aftermath of that. But this one, we actually see her reaction, which is immediately going to her
Right.
brothers and saying, "Let's kill this deal. Let's work
Yeah.
together," which just makes what's about to happen next even more baffling. Her decision ultimately, what she decides to do, like when did it click for her or maybe
I
disconnect
was
with her that
gonna
it's like,
ask you
yeah,
that
man, because I'm
because it was like because she was like FREE and then she and then she switched up again. I was like, okay. Um and it might be just that realization, right?
yeah,
That she's like, I'm gonna be playing this game for a long time,
yeah.
right? And all it's led is like my heart being broken, getting
Mm,
betrayed by like all of the people. I'm betraying everyone in my life. And maybe it was that like right there. I need to get it.
oh
But
man,
there's like a little realization.
yeah.
And
And
it's
the
like,
fact too, as we talked about earlier, Nana, it's Tom. It's the
yes,
guy that she brought
Tom,
into
yes.
the family that she put in the
Right.
position to be the manager of AT. And she
Hmm.
almost going back to what she did for Lucas of propping these, and again, this is speaks to, I guess, just women in the workforce. Siobhan, and again, kind of feeling that kind of bad for her. She's built a lot of these men to get in these positions, whether it is a Tom, whether it is a Lucas, whether it is helping her brothers out, even though she ultimately was trying to sell them out. But there's all these moments of her building up these other men for her to ultimately get the short end of the stick, and for it to be Tom in this moment, Nine, it just had to be a realization of just like, you, the guy
Yeah.
that I was above this whole
Yeah.
I chose you. You didn't choose me in this relationship. Oh man.
And I'm saying
That's a
it's
moment.
like,
That's a
what
moment, man.
exactly did Tom even do? He really
Right.
did not work for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Like
as you
if he
said,
would have went to jail for that whole, cruise situation, would have
yeah,
served like a year or whatever. It's like
right.
the man put in the work.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
yeah, for this one, like you said, like again, yeah, that sexism in the workplace, corporate
yeah,
workplace, she did build up all of these people.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I would, yeah, like it does seem like at the beginning of the episode, I was like, oh yeah, she's like running shit. She
yeah,
is like making making good moves for Gojo, leading Maz into she would have been good CEO. She would have been.
yeah. With a little bit more experience, I could definitely see because I mean, to your point now, I'm just thinking about all the stuff she has kept things afloat to a Logan extent. Going
Hmm.
back to the cruise situation, who was it? And you mentioned it weeks ago. Who was it that talked? There was a witness that worked for the company that was going to
Hmm.
snitch and tell them all the evil deeds, but Siobhan was the one that spoke to her and used her
Hmm.
womanhood to say, "Come on, let's maybe not
Again,
put you in a
yeah.
position that you're going to be in. Family's going to be
Yeah.
scolded for years to come. Let's not do that." Siobhan was the one going to this season. She bumped up the price. He was the one that spoke to Lucas that night and got the price higher. It wasn't the boys that saved the deal. She saved the deal. So there's all these
Hmm.
examples, and there's probably plenty of others that I'm missing throughout the series that she has been there to pick up the pieces and not get the credit that she deserved, essentially. And for her to have Tom look at her in the eye and say, "Not you, honey, but me." And it goes back to
Yeah.
the conversation they had back in season 1 of, "Let's build you up, Tom." Oh no, now it's my chance, Tom. But it ultimately goes back to
Exactly.
Tom that the
Exactly.
man of the relationship gets the time to shine, man.
You're right. He didn't have to do much. He just had to like, offer her.
Yeah,
That's
that's
that
again,
is like so crazy.
bro. Come
Like
on,
I want to
man.
know how he's explained that one, right?
Right.
Like I want to see the aftermath of that conversation. It's like
Oof.
not only is it it's you because you said what? You agreed to what? Yeah.
Exactly, man.
That's
Exactly. It's again, I know there's a lot of people that aren't the biggest Shiv fans. Not for any other reasons, just because the show makes it that every character in the show is
mhm,
hard. There's a point in the show, even me, that I didn't like Kin, my favorite character. There's moments
mhm.
in every episode or maybe every season where your favorite character is the worst
All
character.
of them are the worst.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
all of
all
them are
terrible.
still the worst.
Yes.
And yeah, when we speak their praises and like, we're rooting for them,
Yes.
we hate these people.
Exactly.
We just love to hate them.
Exactly.
So
Exactly, man. Exactly. But it doesn't stop there, Nine. Not only does he tell his wife that he's the one, but now he has to tell his other wife. I'm referring to Greg. One more moment between the disgusting brothers. Well, one more moment ultimately before they get their ultimate victory lap. But
I've
slappy
been
match,
waiting
Nine.
for
They're in the
this.
bathroom, and because he finds out from Siobhan that Greg was the one that told. He's like, she goes off, and he's like, "Greg, can I talk to you? Got to make some strategic moves, this, that, and the other." He takes to the bathroom. It's like, "Really, Greg? Really?" It's like, well,
And
Tom, you
I've
did
been
tell him to
waiting for this.
keep the information and bash it over your head.
Exactly.
You did tell him this move, Tom.
Right.
Man, they get to slapping each other. I don't
Mhm.
know, Nine, because I just get such a good time out of these characters. I almost kind of felt bad for them because I'm like, you guys, look where you're at. From where you start to where you're at. Why are y'all
Right,
fighting in the
right,
bathroom? But
right.
the slapping match had me dying.
I,
Nine.
I
Anything you got to say about this slapping match between the two?
I've been waiting for Greg to slap
To fight him
Tom.
back.
Yeah, like do something.
Do something, man.
Do
Stop
something,
getting
my guy.
punked.
And he's gonna keep on growing. The Disgusting Brothers are back at it again,
Can't
for this
stop. Won't stop.
decade and the next. Yeah. Yeah,
Man,
that's
I wish I could
crazy.
play this. I'm just looking at the slap was the slap hurt. I don't know which slap was
Mhm.
harder, Chris Rock or which one surprised you more? Was it Chris Rock being slapped by Will Smith or Tom
Mhm.
being shocked that Greg actually stepped up and slapped him back and said, "No, no, no,
Mhm.
I'm gonna fight back."
I mean,
These two are hilarious. I'm telling you, Nine. Give me that spinoff, 2025.
oh yeah,
Greg and Tom,
just Greg and
Succession.
Tom. Yeah,
Succession presents the Disgusting Brothers coming
yeah,
to
the Disgusting Brothers,
Max.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
what's
here
up
for
with
it.
that, Max? I
Listen,
was like
Nine,
kind of
I said at
confused.
the
I
top of
was
the
like, oh,
stream, whoever made that decision, it seemed like that was a Greg decision. Whoever is
Right.
the running the branding of HBO Warner Brothers is a Greg was
Yeah.
like, hey guys, I got a good idea. Why don't we
Right.
take the HBO out of it and just say Max?
Yeah.
That's a straight up Greg
Right.
decision, man.
A bunch of people that never heard no.
Yeah, idiots, nine.
Easy.
But before we wrap up this episode, man, again, we still got 400 strong, 417 of you all watching us live. I appreciate y'all. If you're having a good time, again, just a reminder to like, share, comment, and subscribe. And if there's any questions you guys have for us, please put them in the comments now, and I'll try to get to them. Again, some great commentary that you guys have been dropping all episode. I appreciate y'all. Let me see if there's, and if you do have a question, by the way, while we take this little sideline break, put question like in all caps and then put your question there for it can make it easier for me to find one out. But we're going to take a moment to pull up some comments here while we wrap up tonight's episode 9. He kept Santa America CEO and Lucas wasn't going to pick Siobhan. Yeah, that this is the worst. Friend won't be friends. Yeah, Greg cutthroat. That is for sure.
Got that dog in him now.
He got that dog in him, man. He got that dog. And I also wish too, just speaking up to the, I wish that Mencken would have appeared in this episode just to have that final kind of handshake of it be introducing a new CEO. Should have needed heavy blackmail. Like, yeah, no, it's a great point, 9. If she really wants to screw over Manson, which she could have used that the whole
that's
blood situation,
because she's so good at like setting up the play, but it almost seems like she's forgetting about herself, right? She's forgetting to actually have something that will keep people from messing with her and doing her dirty.
Yeah, she kind of dropped the ball, man. She did. It's almost as if she was almost like I think of when I think it was season 2 when she put out all those dirty articles about her brother Ken, and like Rome and Connor didn't want to sign off on it, but she still put it out there. It just she's willing to throw her siblings under the bus, but she wasn't able to like officially throw the person that has no blood ties to her. It's kind of just speaks to just how they put more respect on other people's names than their own family. But it's crazy, man. Silver Scale with the $5 super chat. I can't believe I still can't believe it was Disgusting Brothers and not the Gross Brothers.
Listen, I don't know. I kind of like the Disgusting Brothers. I like I think it's gonna be brand. Yeah, put that on the shirt.
I need that a spinoff, man. I need that spinoff, bro. But getting back, I don't see any particular questions. Just some great commentary. Again, appreciate you guys' comments. But let's wrap up the episode here, 9. We're now at the point in the episode where it's time for the meeting to take place, time for the board to speak. And I felt the tension, man. Again, at this point, the show went from, again, we had all these kind of sentimental, sad bonding moments. And now it's like, no, we got to really get to the going. Lucas is like, get on the phones, call. Because he obviously knows that the word's been out there that the CEO won't be Shiv. So he obviously knows she's going to jump on her brother's side. We have them walking in the office. And again, I just want to point out from the beginning of this episode to the middle of this episode to this point in the episode, the confidence level from these kids are like, all right, we're good. You see Rome smiling, Ken smiling, Shiv in the back. We think as an audience, maybe they're going to get their stuff together. They're going to figure it out, 9, but they're not serious people, 9. As we pivot through, and before we get into the actual meeting, there is a pretty pivotal moment that was, 2 pivotal moments. One, who's going to sit in the throne? Who's going to sit on the Iron Throne? And we see Ken officially just kind of like, I got the picture here where he's just, getting acquainted and thanks for keeping the seat warm for me, Dad. I don't know. How does it look, 9? How does it look?
I really love that because he actually sat down and he was like,
man, I can get used to this.
Swivels. It's swivels. Yeah. This is nice. This is nice. And it really reminded me again, like we've seen this before. We've seen this energy and confidence the last time he got played, or the first time we see him, right?
Yep.
And it happened with his own father, right?
Exactly. His own blood.
And he still he had that same energy, right? And it felt weird because I was like, oh, he's actually going to do it this time, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look at this now. My man's feet's up, got the chairs all comfortable. He's talking to Stewie. He's like, "Oh, Stewie, hey, get in here, man. CEO,
Mhm.
you're a CEO. You're a chairman. You're this. He's just and now titled like he is the king."
I
And again, I think Nine. When you asked me earlier, when was the moment that Siobhan, after having this moment with her husband, wanting to kill her husband, I think this was it here, Nine.
when she
I think this is
saw
the
the
moment when
baby.
Siobhan looked at her brother and saw the cockiness, the arrogance in her dad's
Mhm.
chair. And she said to
Yeah,
herself, I will not allow this to happen. I think this is
yeah,
the moment. Nah.
right, yeah, and yeah, right when he had the feet up, I we saw that look from
Mm,
Shiv,
mm.
and she saw the future for like a brief
Yeah.
second. She just like, I could see everything so clearly,
Yep.
and he is not going to have my back the same way. Like he's going to throw me under the bus. Um, and she was probably like, okay, last time I agreed that it was going to be him and Roman,
Yeah.
and but I was still going to get a piece of the pie.
Right.
And she is like, you know what? They're not gonna ever
Yep.
give this to me at all, man. Look, yeah,
Yeah,
look
man.
at that face. She was
Look at the
like,
face. It says it right there, guys.
okay, you know what? No.
Yeah, I can't roll with this. I can't go here. Yeah, I think this was the moment. Let me know how y'all feel in the comment section. If you feel like this was the moment that Siobhan said to herself, I cannot let this man run this company. He's in our dash chair. He's being overconfident. He's giving out titles like they're, Oprah giving out cars. And she
Mhm.
just couldn't allow it, man. I think this was it, man. I think this was it. But unfortunately, Nine, Ken is not aware. He's not reading the room. He doesn't know what's about to happen to him. It's all about to crumble down. But as we pivot through, we see this confidence level from the siblings, but then Jerry walks into the office, Nine, and for whatever reason, as you mentioned, Mama Jerry to Roman shook him. I don't know which one shook him more. Was it Uncle Ewan's speech last week, or was it seeing Jerry walk into the office? Because he goes from 0 to 100 real fast, because he looks at her and he's looking at his scar and he's going back on, why wasn't it me?
That
Why wasn't
was
it me? And then his brother hugs him and embraces him. And we know he's so closed off to his emotions. He doesn't know how to grieve. Not that there's a handbook to grieving, but he just doesn't know how to process his emotions. They hug each other. He's like, "Oh yeah, I hate you. Stop it!" But it just speaks to just the complexity of their relationship, but also the complexity of Roman just being a complete wreck.
yeah. And you know, you're saying that, Ken was hugging him, but it also it seemed like he was like, purposely trying to like dig into his stitches a little bit.
That's a good
Right.
point. Yeah, the stitches did open up again. Yeah,
Yeah, and like I was like, man, this seems like an aggressive hug right now.
yeah,
But like I was trying to figure out what was going through Roman's head right in that moment. Like to go back to being like to seeing Jerry and being like, oh no, it could have been me, right?
right,
I'm
right.
like, dude, like you seem very delusional right now.
Yeah,
It doesn't even make sense of like, look at you. You can't
you're a
even
mess.
compose yourself. You can't
Yeah,
be in the same room with this lady that you are so high on your ass firing, right?
yeah, yeah.
Uh and it's another part, like ever since we have been seeing him like reveal himself, or what type of CEO he would be, just if he's not being compared to his father in the right way, he's going to be flying off the handle. What makes him think that he can be doing that? It was, I don't know, kind of lost. I was kind of lost.
Yeah, it's and again, I don't blame you, man. I'm kind of lost too, because Roman's just such a chaotic character, which is the beauty of the character. You never know what to expect. And to your point, as far as is it a matter of, we know that Jerry was so respected in a sense from her father, even though that he ultimately gave him the call to fire her. But still, like, was the respect that Jerry had, the video that he watched when Jerry was in the room with her father? Was it, again, the emotions of him firing Jerry, but she still ended up on top? Was it, and again, you mentioned the embarrassment of him throwing himself in front of those people and having the scars and not, being the
Hmm.
man? It's a lot. It's a lot going on in his head, man. But I think this, speaking to the Shiv moment, I think even though he ultimately was siding with his brother for a bit. But I think he knew deep and down inside that since it wasn't him, I'm not going to let you be the one either. It's just it's a vicious game they're playing
Right.
here, man.
Well, I think he also had like a little moment of clarity too.
Right.
Right at the end, because and we can get to that, but he kind of caps it off by saying like, we're not shit, Ken. Like he was
Yeah.
like, you know what? I'm starting to realize that I'm not good at this. I'm not
Yeah.
good at, being a person. Like, oh, I understand why my dad said we're not serious people. Look at us. Yeah.
Yeah.
That type of energy is coming from him. And I was like, yeah, you finally get it. You finally see yourself in the mirror right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said, man. Well said. And it leads us down to these final scenes. We're all at the boardroom again. Ken's feeling good. He has his siblings on his side. At least he thinks he does. We get the call out. It's first Carl, which is kind of, or Frank, I'm sorry, which is kind of interesting that he was the first one to go against it, because literally 2 weeks ago he was thinking about siding with Ken, doing the reverse Viking, and he's Ken's godfather. But he says, "Yep, I'm taking this parachute and I'm running with it." I don't know the other two ladies' characters' name. I don't think we've ever met them, but they vote against it. And then we pivot over to, we know what Ken's vote is. We get to Uncle Ewan. His vote is, keep the company. Same with Stewie. It was a little shaky when Rome. He kind of paused. He was like, "Nope, I'm keeping the company."
Mm-hmm.
9. It gets down to Siobhan, and
Mm-hmm.
I just had this feeling in my stomach, like, what's going on? Is loading? Screen's loading. What's going on in her head? What
Right.
is she
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah. There's a buffer. She was
And
buffering it out.
she says, "I need a moment to think." And Ken's high becomes ground zero, man. She stops the whole thing. She says, nah, I need to think about it. I need to think about the decision. Again, we talked about it. Could have been the moment of him celebrating too early. She walks out of the room, and this is where they just showed their ass, 9. I mean, the kids are literally not being serious people. There's a time and a place, 9, and this wasn't the time nor the place.
Bro.
9, this scene here, I thought he didn't hit it. He kind of grabbed her and not pushed her, but like no, get back. Like, it was very aggressive towards not only a woman, but your sister and a pregnant woman as well. It's like all that stuff.
That's fine.
And I mean, 9, man, the scene is just so it's almost very devastating, because again, we just saw them kind of coming together, working together. She tells him, "No, I don't feel good about it. I changed my mind." When did you change your mind? And Rome is like, "Yeah, what's going on, Shiv? This, that, and the other." And then it goes back to Tom's quote about, if you have information, just store it and no one to throw it out there. But this, I don't know if you throw this out there. And my goodness, 9,
that for real.
I can't let you be the CEO because you killed someone. What do you mean I killed someone? Well, which one? He says, which one? What do you mean, which one? How many people have you killed, Ken? No. I mean, I never killed anyone. I just said that. I was in the moment. I just wanted us to bond. Wait, you wanted us to bond? And that's when Roman got off the phone. Was like, wait, you lied about killing someone to be a family? 9, I don't even know where to start, man. I'm just like jaws on the ground. I'm like, well, what's about to happen right now?
That like made me despise Kendall. Like, in that moment, I ain't never been like that pissed off at him, because listen, he doesn't even care at that point. He's not even like, he's not willing, he's not even seeing clearly, right? He's seeing red right now. And when you lied about that, well, first off, she said that very loud. I was like, hold on. Can you shut the fuck
kill someone? Yeah.
Like,
she's joking, guys. She's talking about Call of Duty.
Right. I was like, is there like a conference phone in there? Like, I hope you're not on the intercom right now.
Right, guys.
We're on
call. We're on the phone, guys.
Again, he's not willing to, either you did or you didn't. And I mean, we all know what happened. We all know that, was a part of that.
Was part of someone dying. Yeah.
Part of that.
It wasn't intentional, but it happened. And yeah.
But again, like all of the cracks, and he's like, yeah, now you're just looking like a scared little boy right now,
Yep.
though. They
Yep.
they are actually like he's being like the biggest baby in the world,
Yeah.
like the biggest child.
And this might just be the Kindle fan in me. You think about season one, you think about all the stuff he's been through. You think about he's been through the most in the show. If we're putting my Ken fandom aside, he has been through the most in the show.
Hmm.
So you kind of understand where this childish behavior is coming from. Like, this is mine, having this temper
Hmm.
tantrum, but it's still a level of like accountability that needs to be had in this moment that
Exactly.
he didn't take.
Exactly.
And like you said, Nine, the embarrassment in this scene of him just literally not even knowing what to say. Like, no, I didn't kill anyone. I made it up. No, it didn't happen. It's just like, wow.
Hmm.
We are watching the destruction right in front of our faces, man.
Yeah.
Because honestly, now he's seeing his whole legacy, the whole dad telling me since I'm 7, I'm going to be running the company, dad giving me the company, but taking it from under me being a little quiet puppy doll all of season 2 to finally getting ahead of my dad to now having this moment, all for it to break down right in front of him.
Hmm.
9, my goodness. And it doesn't stop there, 9, because it gets violent, as you said.
Yeah.
Shiv tries to leave. He pushes her back. Ken is like, hey, man, or Rome telling her, calm down. It's not only, she's pregnant, man. What is wrong with you? So, man, this dude was he went cold. He went John Wick. I don't know who he went. Michael Myers. He tries to crush his
Michael
brothers.
Myers,
I mean, he is.
Undertaker shit. Michael Myers, Undertaker. And yeah, I mean Roman said that line too. Like, man, they they really came after every single thing that Kendall, like, probably deep down been feeling about himself. I mean, one, you got your sister be like, well, you killed somebody. Two, you got Roman be like, yeah, you know, you got kids, but really they're not blood. I'm like,
Ooh, their
wow,
bloodline. What do you mean?
wow.
Oh,
And
nine.
I didn't. That's is that something that we knew, or was that like the reveal?
No, I thought that was because yeah, I always thought they were adopted. I thought that was
Okay.
pretty well, I guess not abundantly clear. Like, I knew his daughter was adopted because neither one of them,
Hmm.
his daughter was, I think, was Indian, and we know he's not, and Reva's not.
Hmm.
So I thought she was adopted. And then was it 3 kids or 2 kids?
I don't know, man.
So I
This
know it was the
guy's
one
like,
kid who suffered from like something,
right.
and I remember, Logan slapped him, but yeah, I thought that was pretty apparent that it wasn't his kids. But nevertheless, I mean, that's something you don't say at this moment, right?
Like, yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
like, not like, you know, uh, the way he phrased it
yeah,
too.
bloodline.
Um,
Yeah, it's like they're kitchen. He says they're like a kitchen. I can't remember the phrasing, but it was just like
kitchen,
they're like
something about the file man or
yeah,
something.
just like items. They're just like props.
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, come get it, little bro. You're about to get these hands real quick.
Shake hands.
Um, and I really need to rewatch that scene because
Yeah, yeah,
I'm trying to like think back about it. But again, you know, started watched it like 2 hours ago. So
yeah.
it's been a long one. It's been a long one. But one of the one of the best scenes of the show.
I think so, without question. I'm looking at the scene now with the subtitles. He says one is a buy-in, the other is a half Reva, half some filing cabinet guy, right?
Okay.
The
Okay.
test
So
tube.
like a donor.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
exactly,
probably like
exactly.
okay. Wow. Yeah, that just the
And
way he phrased it.
ooh, and 9. This reminds me
Crazy.
of the Dark Knight with Batman getting when Joker got under his skin. Um,
Hmm.
and he just can't control himself, and he's smiling as he's getting like, look at Rome's face, bro.
Yeah. When
That's
in the interrogation room.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, man.
Yeah.
Whew.
Man.
And this is that thing where your closest family or friends know you the best, and they can hurt you the worst because
Hmm.
they have all that on you. I mean, yeah, it's like levels to it. That's
Hmm.
just something you don't say, man. But it doesn't stop there. He has even more of a temper tantrum. He's screaming, he's yelling. Siobhan eventually leaves the room, and she ultimately goes into the boardroom and says she's the 7th vote. But meanwhile, as you mentioned earlier, Rome tells his brother, like, come on, man, we're not essentially just saying we're not serious. I'm nothing. You're nothing. Shiv's nothing. We're, and just pretty much says what the dad said. We're a
Again,
joke.
Getting
We're
back
we're
to
backup band.
that accountability, like in his head, he's like, as he's walking Shiv walk out to give her vote, he's like, all right, how do I come up with something like really quick? Think. I'm
Yeah,
like, dude, you're already cooked. You
yeah, man.
cooked. And the downfall was so hard. That was difficult. That was difficult to watch. Yeah.
And then, and not to backtrack too far back, but Ken in the same scene, he tells them, tries to again sympathize with his siblings, like, guys, you don't know how much this means to me. Like, if I don't get this, I might die.
Yeah.
Um, and even him telling them that didn't stop them from doing what they did, man.
He did. He
We
did die a
we
little bit.
he did, no, for sure. Like there's pieces of all these characters that will never be recovered in this
Mhm.
room, and I think that again we're never going to know the follow up to this, but this is the last time I think that we're going to ever see all three of them in a room together.
Mhm.
Um, but we end with Siobhan says the seventh vote. Ken's going back to it was almost, and again, rewatching this scene and thinking about season one when Ken found out that his dad was going to end up taking the company back, and just the stillness, the coldness, the emptiness of like his whole life has been built up to this one moment to be taken away from him, as you had mentioned earlier, not just from anyone, but from someone of his own blood,
Mhm.
taking it from under him.
Mhm.
Goes in the elevator. And then Rome is left behind to take the most uncomfortable photo op that I've seen in a very long time. At first, I thought Jerry was in the room. That's what I thought. But then when he said I don't want to be in the room with him and this, but it's like we find out that it is Manson, and it goes back to one of
Yo.
his Academy Award winning scenes in episode 5 when they were on top of the hill or top of the mountain, and when Lucas said to me, "Oh, you effed up." Lucas got the last
You're
laugh.
right.
He ended
Yeah.
up on top.
Yeah. Ooh, and you know what? I thought while they're taking a picture, I thought we were about to like see Ken
Come out of
drop
nowhere.
off, like, no,
Show
I'm not
chop
talking about
everywhere.
like off the roof, we'll just see him
Oh,
like,
like in the background, you see a
yeah, in the
body drop.
background.
Oh,
I was
woo.
like, I thought they were about to like, yeah, have some Ken photobombing them off the roof. Yeah.
Ooh, that would
um
have been
yeah,
dark.
that'll probably be a little too much, but I was getting the sense, I was like, what's Kendall going to do? Like, I really, right when he was like pressing that elevator button, I was like, ooh,
Yeah.
this isn't looking good. This isn't
Going
looking
down
good.
to floor zero, going down to the basement, going down to hell. It's
Hmm.
oof. Yeah, man. It's and look at Ebba, by the way. It makes me even think about it again, Nine, about the games that Lucas was playing. I don't even going back to the whole blood ex-girlfriend. That might have been a goddamn lie. That
Hmm.
might have just been a whole game that he was just playing. Look at the man smile. And I
Yeah.
love, by the way, also I love the scene. Just to kind of backtrack a bit, we're seeing Hugo. Hey Tom, congratulations! Frank and Greg kissing the ring and saying
Hmm.
that if they're going to stay or go. It's just seeing all these people
I was
kiss the ring
always
at this
pulling
moment.
for you.
I was always pulling for
I was, yeah, all of a sudden he's the GOAT.
you. He's the legend, right? And
All of
then
a
even
sudden.
to go back to the Disgusting Brothers, the whole moment between
I
two
think,
characters. I think one of my favorite moments, man, uh, is this right here, Nine, where we had the scene where they were doing the whole audit of what's going to stay, what's going to go, who's going to take what. Greg has found, or Tom has found what he's going to keep, and that's his little Greg toy.
Right, yeah.
I'm going to keep you along for the ride, kid.
Mr. Wasabi himself.
Mr. Wasabi and LaCroix himself is now an item owned by Tom, the new CEO of Waystar Gojo Company. Wow, Nine. We take the photos. Rome goes out. He has his little moment that he's, sipping his little martini. He's like, "Hey, whatever. I'm gonna get my millions and just go wherever the wind takes me." We end with this toxic couple in the car. Nine, their hands
Mm.
hovering over each other like they're robots, and silence. He
One of my
tells her
favorite
earlier in
shots.
that scene, he's like, I'm gonna have a car if you want to join me. And she
Hmm.
joins him. And like I said, Nine, the picture says it all. Like, what is this? Is this love? Is this contentment? Is this hatefulness? Is this just
This is
whew,
like, like again, like reverse hero's journey type of situation here. Like, all
yeah.
of these characters are a lot less than they were.
Yeah, man.
It's like it's over. Like, there's like uh they got nothing in here no more.
Yeah.
a lot of them have nothing in there.
Yeah.
Uh, they gamble with their souls, and and at the end, Tom won, and
Time
turns
one,
out
bro.
he never had one, so
Yeah.
he was good.
He was good all the way through. And then it leads us to the last kind of shot of this season, man. And that's Kendall. Like, I mean, as we wrap it up, Nine, I mean, and we'll kind of summarize it to just final thoughts on the show and the series, but just on a capping off point of this show, we started the show with Kendall. And everyone brings up the whole setting the scene up for him taking over the reins, and the whole shot of the theme is Logan behind him looking upon his disciples. Oh, and by the way, the line of like Jesus and the disciples and
Oh
Judas
my
in the
god!
room by Lucas, hilarious line, by
Why
the way.
did why did Madison look like he was like just like in the NFL draft or something?
Yeah,
Like
like signing the
he's got
contract, the biggest contract in his. I
right.
mean, it essentially is. He got the
Yeah.
biggest company
He-
in this world that he's now the owner of. But yeah, man, we end with this shot here again. Like I said, it was leading up to the show talking about how it would be dope if we ended the show with the last shot of the theme song, which is Logan sitting at the table, the head of the table from behind of him, leading the
Mm,
way. And there's been all these scenes behind Ken showing that, symbolizing he's going to be the one to take over. But obviously he doesn't. He ends with this shot with him looking behind and him not having anything to look forward to,
nice.
just a blank slate of emptiness and ocean
Literally,
and
like
water.
it is such an interesting way to it's such an interesting way for them to end it
Yeah, the final shot.
because and I thought it was like very eerie and interesting to
Yeah,
see Colin is
he's there.
was just there. He was just like
Yeah,
in the background, just or
yeah.
just walking behind. And I think it's like, that thing you just couldn't take accountability for
Mhm,
right now.
mhm.
He's the one that really knows what's up too.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's good. Like it's like a metaphor, like that's going to still be following you.
right,
You
right.
get nothing but this following you.
And to be honest too, I think Colin, because we saw him having some emotional breakdowns when he found out that his boss, but also friend, died. I think in a way, Nine, that Colin also knows that he can't leave this kid alone for
Hmm.
Logan's sake. Because if it was up to Ken being by himself, I wouldn't be surprised if he hopped over this gate and went for a
Right.
swim, bro. So
Right.
I think Colin is like actually kind of doing his dad a favor and looking out for this kid because he's on, um, you know, dark times, man.
Hmm.
I don't think he'll ever recover. Which brings me to the last point before we wrap it up. Nine. Speaking of legacy, man, what will you remember from Succession to where we started to where we ended? What's the legacy of this show for you, Nine?
The bars.
The bars.
Some of the best bars in all of in yeah, some of the best bars that HBO's got on. And I thought it was kind of interesting because you know, I forget who produced the theme song, right? He was talking about
Nicholas
how
Brohl, I think is his name.
mhm, okay,
Classic
okay.
composer.
And yeah, and he was talking about how like that theme song is like kind of very heavily inspired by like hip hop too.
Mm.
Like
Oh
that's
yeah.
where he when he was building it up. And if you can listen, you can listen to the bass and
Right. Right.
I mean, Pusha T's got a song.
Yeah, like a kind
Yeah,
of a rendition of it. Yeah. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I feel like that like energy is funny because like this is you know the, the whitest people ever, right? In like the
Yeah.
most corporate setting, but they do have that like flavor of like hip hop in it, right? When
Yeah.
they're
They
talking
got
about
they're
like
they're not just plain white chicken. They got some seasoning to them.
right, and I think like just the yeah, just the show itself has that such a unique style, like
Yeah.
really mob mob mentality type thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
No,
but
I mean, I couldn't agree with you more, Nine. This show, when you think about it, if you're pitching this to someone, it's a bunch of corporate heads talking about corporate stuff in rooms and offices, but it's
mhm,
some of the most riveting stuff you'll see on TV. As you mentioned,
mhm,
Jesse Armstrong is a master pensman on writing the show, but it's another level to write these incredible scripts and all that stuff, but it's another level to have the right people say in the lines
mhm,
and going back to just things to take away from. Um, the performances now for me is something that the legacy number one. And I want to go back to what you said because I'm a big score head. I love a good score. Like a score is just as important to me as cinematography,
Mhm.
acting, writing, directing. A score really sets the tone, the mood, and that opening theme song to me, it's like up there with
Goated.
Game of Thrones and anything you think of. I put that up there. It sets the
Oh, yeah.
tone for the episode. I love the theme. It's like you said,
Mhm.
goated. But then going back to the legacy of performances, Jeremy Strong, Kieran McCulkin, Sarah Snook, Brian Cox. I mean, the list goes on and on. Like, I can't think of one bad episode in this series. I can't think of one weak link in the cast. Everyone,
Mhm.
whether it was a Hugo, a Jerry, a
Mhm.
Carolina, a Carrie, a Greg. I mean, the list goes on, man. Everyone brought their A game. Like, they came to play. I think and I was watching the after show with Jesse Armstrong. He even said he doesn't think he'll be able to write another show like this again.
Mm.
Like and that's just the
Mm.
immortality of like, this is my
Yeah.
greatest, this is my
Right.
masterpiece. There's nothing more I can do.
Like, yeah. What more do
He,
you want from me?
right. Are you not entertained? So
Yeah.
it takes a lot for someone to say that too, just because I mean, I'm sure that if I'm Max, you giving this
Yeah.
man a blank check, give us the next Succession,
Oh,
sir.
yeah.
And he's just like,
Yeah, like what
I
I
think this
mean,
is it.
I'll be interested to see like what he does. I would
Yeah.
like if it's not another show, I would definitely like to see if he, writes a
Like a
movie or
movie.
like
Yeah.
yeah, or
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. For sure, man.
where he's gonna put his hat into. But man,
100%.
legend
Legend,
pick.
man. This show is, I'll have to think about it for not only weeks, months, probably years, but like when I make that definitive, like this is the greatest show of all time. Like there's the Breaking Bads of the world, there's the Wires, there's the Sopranos, there's for me, Mad Men, The
Mm,
Office, Living Single, stuff like that.
Atlanta.
Will Smith, Fresh Prince,
Oh
Martin,
yeah.
Atlanta. I mean, there's just so many great shows, and I think I'm not putting it anywhere, but this is a top tier show of all time
Oh
for
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not a big talky person as far as like shows that are just talk, 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 talk. Corporate
Right.
rooms, bunch of jargon
Yeah.
about politics. And it's like this. That sounds boring to me.
Mm,
But it's the writing of the
yeah.
show that made it so intriguing. It's the performances. It's the direction. It's just the shakiness of the camera that make you feel like you're in the room with them, and it's just
Right.
it's a go to show, bro. It
It's
really is.
fantastic.
We talked about it last week. Nine. The final question I have for you, man: did they stick the landing? Is
I
this a
think they
finale that
did.
feels satisfying
I
for
think
you?
they did. I, and we're gonna ask the audience, and I want to see what people are saying. But I think this is good. Like, I don't go back and watch Game of Thrones after that finale. I, I've really no interested in going back and watching the show. For this, I'm still interested in like, picking up on new things. I'm going to give it a rewatch. I can't wait to give it a rewatch. Um, and that is probably like the baseline. Uh, I don't think I can write or come up with anything I would have rather wanted to see. Right. So I think, yeah, it gets a thumbs up. It gets a thumbs up from me.
Yeah, man. Same for me, man. Again, I'm gonna have to rewatch this episode. Because I think you mentioned it last week that some of the best, or I was on some discussion of someone mentioning that most of the time the season finales sometimes end up being the best episode of
Mm,
the entire series. I don't know if I'm there quite yet with this particular episode. Like I do think, episode 3 is something that stands out to me still with
yeah.
the death of Logan, the funeral that we got last week, the politic, the Mencken being the president
Mm,
episode. I mean, this
that was
season was
fantastic.
was
That was
great.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, this
That
season
was
was just hit after
fantastic.
hit after hit. So it's going to be hard to where I replace this finale amongst the other 3 and where I replace this episode amongst the other 9. But I would ultimately say I feel more pleased and satisfied. Of course, we mentioned there was some things that weren't answered, but I don't think they ultimately mattered as much as
Right, right.
they
It would have been nice if we got, everything, but
right,
again, it's got to end somehow or
right,
sometime.
right,
But I doubt, yeah, and that's funny that you say that because, like, yeah, there's some really great moments in this episode,
yeah,
but will I be saying it's the best of the season? No, I'm not saying that.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's some really great episodes in this one. Um, but I don't think it's going to be like a polarizing ending. I don't think
Yeah.
there's people that are
Yeah.
going to be like, nah, this ending ruined the show for me. You know what I
Right.
mean?
I
Or like,
agree. I
but
agree.
we'll see.
We'll see, yeah,
We'll
what the
we'll
legacy of this
see.
show will be in the
Yeah.
coming days, weeks, months to years. But now, I tell you what, man, this journey has been awesome because not only did I have this great community coming through every single week, but being able to chop it up with you, man, from going from
Yeah.
Atlanta conversations to Succession, man. This is a good 2 for 2 in my eyes, man. I really appreciate you joining me these last 3 or 4 weeks, man. It's been an honor and so much fun to be on these panels with you and to bounce off different ideas and what worked and didn't work, man. It's been absolutely a blast, man. So I want to take the time to thank you, my friend, for joining me on this journey called
Yeah.
Succession.
No, thank you, dude. This has been such a great way to spend my Sundays. I get to talk about my favorite shows. Um, you bring a great perspective. All the time. I've been watching your videos for a while, and appreciate you, man.
Oh
Appreciate
man,
you.
no man, I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you.
I appreciate you, man. But listen, guys, before we call it a night, we're approaching 2.5 hours here. If there's any final comments, concerns, questions you have, for some reason, I was going to pull a poll in the chat now, but for whatever reason, my Chrome is not opening up. I was going to put if people feel like there's a satisfied conclusion, but just put it in the live chat if you guys just put a score if you guys want, or a letter grade. How did you feel about this finale? And then leave any final comments of the legacy of this show. What will you remember about Succession next week, next month, next year, 5 years from now? Let me know before we call it a night. And I guess the next question, Nine, is what's next, bro? What's the next show that will fill this void? I mentioned earlier, I'm so mad at whoever the Greg of CEO of who makes these decisions to put shows on that Barry and Succession are ending at the same time. But what's the
Yeah.
next show now? Do you find? I mean, next week, HBO. I'm sorry, Max will be
Mhm.
premiering the new Sean Livingston show, The Idol, which has been polarizing to say the least. Um,
Yeah.
what's next, man? What are you excited for? What shows should people
The
be watching, man?
idol. Well, I mean, the idol sounds very problematic to me. I mean, I'm gonna watch it.
I'm
I
gonna
will.
watch it too. Yeah,
We'll see. We'll see. But
yeah.
we'll. What's going to fill that succession spot? I don't think we're going to get something that's going to be comparable, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to get anything that's comparable, but I will tell you what, I am watching Dave do live streams of that.
Yep.
The final episode of the season is this Thursday, and we'll be breaking that down. So, if you do like that show, you know, join me there.
Yeah,
Join me
man.
there. Yeah.
Yes. Damn, it's a lot of that's ending. Succession, Barry, Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. So many things ending this week. It's crazy, man. It's like it's almost
Yeah,
planned
man.
to end all these great shows, but
And
it's crazy, bro.
they're taking away our jobs.
I know, right? But no, I think
Yeah,
I will be
we're gonna
watching the
hold.
Idol week 9. I
Mm,
actually, I'm gonna probably do. I don't know if I'm gonna do like an after show like this, but I will probably most likely cover next week the episode 1. You're more than welcome to join if you're free. But I definitely plan on watching that, and because I'm listen, putting the controversy aside of how people feel about Sam Livingston and how he maybe over sexualizes his female characters, whatever the case may be there. But I'm a fan of Assassination Nation. All his projects have female leads in the forefront.
mm,
Um, some of them are more fleshed out characters than others.
mhm,
Zendaya has an Emmy because of him,
mhm,
but also because of herself, because she's fantastic, or at least a nomination. But Assassination Nation, Malcolm and Marie, which was a great Netflix film, and then of course
mhm,
I'm a fan of Euphoria, man. So I will be watching The Idol next week. So hopefully you guys can
mhm.
join the discussion next week. And I don't know if there's any FX Bear fans. I'm a huge fan of Bear. That's coming back for season 2. That show is amazing.
Okay.
Nine. If you get it,
I may need to binge watch The
it's
Bear
good.
so I can
I
catch
binged
up
it
on
in a
season.
day. I watched it in
Um,
Dave's like earlier this year. I watched it and it was a fantastic binge.
I was I was told, I live in Chicago. I was
So
told that
yes,
like I need to check this out. It's
yeah,
like a
man.
very interesting show, and
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna check that out. Is someone mentioned in the comments Silo?
We talked
Silo
about it
is
a couple weeks ago. I haven't went back to it.
it's a weird show.
Yeah,
It's
I saw
weird.
the first episode and I was like, I wasn't sold, but I'm hearing, mixed things about it. I
Mhm.
might go back to. But a show I have started, speaking of Apple 9, is a show called Shrinking with Jason Segel
Oh,
and
okay.
Harrison Ford. First episode is very network television, like very on the nose, kind of
Mhm.
bland. But I'm on episode 5, 9.
It's good.
I don't know if you ever watched Ted Lasso, but it's this year's version of Ted Lasso. It's a sweet,
Okay.
careful. It's very adult. It's not like I thought it was very, again, networky, but it is very adult show that touches on grief. Dealing with unfortunate news. It's a really well put together show, guys. So it's called Shrinking. With Jason Segel, and I've never seen Harrison Ford better, man. He is fantastic in this show. So that's
Yeah.
a little quick recommendation for you guys
Okay.
Apple, excuse me, on Apple TV front to definitely give that a watch. WTF Barry? Yeah, I haven't watched Barry. I will be watching it tonight to see how things end on that show. But
So
um,
is the last episode today of Barry?
yeah, yeah, man.
Okay.
I
Wow.
haven't I haven't looked on Twitter. No one's been a jerk and spoiled anything in the comments. So I will be watching Barry once we get off of this things.
Okay.
And wrapping it up, Nine. If you want to let people at home know where they can find you, man, and I know you pitched the Dave streams, but let everyone else at home know what else is in the future for Nine
Oh yeah.
Nerd Yards.
9 nerd yards. We're gonna be having some fun. Yeah, Dave ends this week, so we're gonna be looking for another thing to watch. And maybe we might do some movie reviews, do like the class of '09. I'm not sure like if anyone's really messing with that show, uh but I do have some exciting news because we were talking about Atlanta, and I'm not sure if you remember Zan in Atlanta. It's played
Oh,
by
yeah,
Freddie
yeah.
Kuguru. So he will be joining us on the stream sometime soon. He said maybe this Wednesday or the next Wednesday. I'm gonna have to double check. So stay tuned for that. Go and follow, subscribe. And I believe he was just in the newest White Man Can't Jump, which has
Yes, he
been
was.
polarizing.
Yeah, he had a
So
very smooth.
yeah, so he will be talking about like his experience with that. So
Yeah,
um as well. So
that's
come
awesome.
around.
Yeah, no, that's I'm definitely gonna check that
Stay
out because
tuned.
he's definitely a memorable character in Atlanta, and he did have a small, I don't say cameo, but he had a small role. But I was like, wait, is that Zan? And he definitely
Hmm.
gave off those vibes in his appearance on White Man Can't Jump, which, like you kind of mentioned, I wasn't the biggest fan of that film, but I'm super stoked to see that interview that you guys are gonna be conducting with him. That's gonna be awesome, man.
Yeah, yeah. Come
Dope,
around.
dope. Awesome. Well, listen, Nine, as far as this week, I'm gonna be staying up a little bit later to watch Barry, but also cutting our breakdown into a little separate video, so you guys can keep an eye out for that. And then from our Barry fans, maybe Monday night, Tuesday morning, I'll have my Barry breakdown. And then this week, Don's talking about the movie front. Fingers crossed that I might see the Flash, but it's not looking the greatest. But I will be seeing Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse on Wednesday. Super excited for that. And next Sunday, we'll be here talking about episode 1 of The Idol and see how polarizing and how crazy it is of all the nudity and all this that stuff. We'll see.
Yeah.
But Nine, man, again, I don't want to again leave without telling you thank you, man, for joining me these last few weeks. I really appreciate it, bro. And then for everyone at home, that's we still got 330 some people still watching, man. Look, if you guys were here episode 1 of these after shows, I thank you. If you popped in on episode 5 or this is your first time watching, it means a lot. As Nine will tell you, man, the YouTube space, it has a lot of highs and lows. But when you have a group of people that consistently come and support the channel and support the streams, it means a lot as not only a content creator, but as a human being, right? It means people are having fun and they're liking something that you're bringing to the table, which, we all look for that, whether it's a big or small validation of like, okay, whatever I'm doing it's working out for some people at home. So I really
Not gonna
appreciate
lie, not gonna lie. The comment section is lit. You
yeah,
guys have been
man. Yeah.
cracking me up with all of your comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, you repeat repeat listeners. Uh I we be seeing you. I
Yeah.
definitely been seeing you,
Yep.
and you guys are fun.
100%. Said it better myself. So I thank y'all for supporting these streams. Like I said, we'll have more streams in the future, not only with other different guests, but definitely this won't be the last time you'll see me and Nine linking up. Man, I'm such a big fan of his work, and so happy that I was able to link up with him last year with Atlanta, and now with Succession. So again, guys, thank you. Before y'all exit tonight's conversation, hit that thumbs up. Leave a thought in the comment section. If we weren't able to read your comments on the live stream, I'll definitely try to my best to catch up on them and read them in the comment section. And man, end of an era. And we have to say goodbye to the Roy family. And
hello, Tom Wamsgans.
Hello, Tom. I can't believe they did it. They did it, y'all. We're going to end on that note. Shout out to Tom. Peace out, everyone.